My cat.
Mike's cat.
Shut up!
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast.
Flippin' cat.
Podcast about how we game.
What a start to the show.
Everyone be quiet.
Everybody be quiet. Mike, yell at that cat. Shut up.
I didn't hear Carlos give the countdown. I didn't know.
We had just gone live when you yelled, shut up. So that's on there. Everybody heard that. Oh, no. Mr. G says, I think we missed something. Maybe there was a half a delay.
It might have been delayed, yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game. That's Carlos. I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wade.
There we go. And we are the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night call-in show. Wah, wah, wah. I got this. Y'all just take a nap. I'm here. I got it.
Sleep now. I got a 6-foot cord.
You can go to the other room. Watch TV. Yeah, I knew Carlos was out of it for a minute, so I was trying to jump in there, but
I'm gonna go fix the camera while you get the show going.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, for y'all who missed it, we're not sure if that came on live, but right when Carlos said everybody be quiet, and then we usually do like a 3-second pause there at the beginning of the show just to kind of get everything set, get everybody in the right mindset, and then there was a cat that meows, and as most of you who watch regularly know, it's usually Carlos's cat that starts about this time every night, needs to be fed, and he starts meowing, but this wasn't Carlos's, so after Carlos says be quiet, he's like, whose cat is that? Or that's not my cat is what he said, and then we hear Mike yell, shut up!
And we thought that was live, but maybe not.
So that, y'all may have missed that at the beginning. So that's a rundown. Everybody's caught up.
Quality audio, video.
Yeah, the last 2 minutes of what we got going
Did we
on
catch
here.
everybody up?
Yeah. something
Okay,
like that.
folks. Hey,
Breathe.
welcome to Thursday Night Live call-in show. Last week on Friday, we had a great time. We got two. There's the kitty.
There's the kitty cat.
Hey, as y'all can see, alive and well.
Might be dead soon. But
Mr. Jeeves recognizes as nice your turn support.
yeah, there we go.
Represent.
Yeah, Lorenzo's got his. We're all representing our your turn shirts.
With some sad news, but
Yeah, go ahead, Rob. Tell
well,
me.
just Dan and Sarah announced.
Start us off on a sad note.
Just a couple days ago, yeah, like I do that. I bring everybody down. Let me do that. They announced that they are closing the cafe, so they're going to keep it open to people who have memberships for the next couple of weeks. They've got a big sale, flea market.
Yeah.
Flea market coming up in a week from Saturday, I think, or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks
2
from
or 3 weeks, yeah,
Saturday.
2
Yeah, a couple weeks out. So they're going to keep the cafe open until then. They're going to have a big sale. Dan had originally announced that he was selling a good chunk of his collection, but he's announced now he's probably going to be double or tripling those number of games. As anybody who's local here and anybody who's watched the show know, he's actually was pushing 3,000 games. So he's got a lot. And there's
He'd have to move out of his house.
Sell list already.
yeah. So he's got about 800, 900 games posted online. I think just for local people here in the Discord and stuff that we've got here locally, that he's selling a lot of games, pretty good prices. So if anybody's interested, if I had the money, I'd be picking up a whole lot of games. But yeah, so they're going to be doing that. He's going to keep a chunk of it. Dan mentioned that it is his own personal collection, so he is going to keep a bunch of those games. So I would imagine he'll keep 1,000 games ish. So it's still going to be a sweet
Still
collection.
A pretty collection.
Yeah,
I picked up 3 this weekend. There were a lot of people there. We had our monthly game meetup there. And it was great. There was, I don't know, it was 10 or 15 people at least during the day, off and on.
Yep.
Got in a lot of cool games, and then he had a lot of them out. And so I was like, oh, I kind of want this one, that one, this one. So I picked up a couple of games.
Yeah, he had pulled a couple hundred, had them set aside, so people were going through. I know Carlos picked up 1 or 2.
I did.
Yeah.
I was going to say, part of the topics like we normally do each week will include games we've recently played and some of our hall stuff. So I was going to talk about mine in the hall.
Okay.
When we talk about what we've gotten recently.
That works. We did
Bad
have
news.
another topic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we open up the phone lines at 9:20. Remember that. We do open up phone lines at 9:20. And I do like to do, if we played a game that day,
Primer.
a quick give it the beans on what game we played. And this time we'll have about 15 minutes to make it happen.
Sure. Yep.
Give it the beans. It's a format for BEANS, and it's going to be for basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, negatives, and then the summary, whether you should buy, try, or deny the game that we played. This is a game that's already on my board. I think Rob may be putting it on his
It's going
board
to go on
today.
mine. I have it actually printed up and turned sideways here off to the side, so I'm going to be posting that a little bit later. So it's up there.
Mike, have you played Concordia?
I have not.
He has
Okay,
not.
he has not.
No,
All right,
you
so
guys are going to take this one over.
Based on our review, we do want to hear from you on your thoughts on trying the game. So let's see if we can't give it the beans done in a quick 15-minute format.
The old Fran Drescher here on the celebrity cover, as everybody is well aware.
It's the best part, man.
Yep, exactly.
Well, give it the beans, the basics. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Concordia. Concordia is a title from 2013 by Matt Gertz, famous for his rondel games for the most part, but I think this was one of the forays that he did outside of rondels, using a card mechanism, a card playing, action playing mechanism.
Resource management, set collection,
Area control.
And then you reset the cards that you played by playing one card that lets you pick up. And I first got introduced to this mechanism because of Rob's playtesting of Century Spice Road.
It was a different name back then. It was called Caravan, but there was
Caravan.
another game that was coming out sooner that already had that name, and so they switched it up at the last minute. But yep.
Century Spice Road is a similar mechanism where you're playing cards to take actions, and then when you feel like you're all done taking actions, you play a certain card, and then you just pick up all your cards and start over again, taking all those actions all over again.
And I love that, cards let you copy other people's abilities, cards let you flip and restart things. There's always kind of two powers to most cards.
Yep, and what's really cool about this one is the scoring at the end of the game is based on the cards that you've bought. There's a purchase row of cards. You start off with 7. You're going to be buying cards to add them into your hand to make them accessible to use those actions. But every card has a dual purpose. Every card also has a way to score. There are 6 different ways to score because of the 6 different gods in the game. Each god will score differently based on the god and how many cards of that god you picked up. So, for example, Saturn, I think, scores based off of how many provinces you're in. You're going to get 2 points for every province you're in. And if I end the game with only 1 Saturn card, I'm gonna score 2 times the number of provinces. But if I end the game with 5 Saturn cards, I'm going to score 2 times 5, because I got 5 of them, times the number of provinces I'm in.
That's 10.
That would be 10.
Just helping out.
That's
Just
bad.
helping out a little bit there. Yeah.
English is not my first language. So it is really about not just taking control of areas on the board to be able to gain
Being
resources.
strategic about which areas, what resources, and how they play off the card you
and then
have.
which cards you buy in order to maximize your scoring at the end of the game. And you're going to do this until all the cards in the deck have been purchased. There's a set number of cards in the deck, and you're going to play until all of them are purchased or until one player has put out all of their buildings. You're going to build buildings in cities, and what's cool about this game is as you build a building in a city, it's exponential in the cost to build it based on how many other people got there first. So it really does, it multiplies the cost based on who gets. So it's a race to spread your colonists out, get out there, explore, build in cities, get access to resources, and then buy cards in order to do more actions and score more points. So that's the basics. So let's get into the enjoyment of the game, and we'll start over there with Wayne.
Just pointing out that was way over 2 minutes. You gave me 2 minutes last week, but go ahead. All right.
3 minutes.
Enjoyment. I love this game. This is a game that I've owned probably since 2013. I think I might have gotten it when it first came out or within a year or two coming out. So we've played a lot. It's been a few years since I played, but I just love. It's easy. There's not a lot of rules, right? It's pretty simple. The rules are on the card or on the board. It's pretty easy. So it's very easy to teach. But there's a complexity here. You have to really think about, okay, where am I going to build? Where am I going to move where am I going to explore out from? What cards am I going to buy? And all that interplay between the cards and what you're doing is crazy. I love it.
I think of it like webs on webs on webs. You ever see that meme of the guy with all the strings all over the place, right? That's how you feel. Like, well, if I do this, then it connects to this card, but then I have 3 of these cards, and then but then I need this buildings. It's just like, and my ADD brain thrives on this because I can spend my time anywhere, and it's helped me move forward.
Right.
It's helping the game move forward. So you're dabbling in everywhere. I think my enjoyment of the game has been the theme. The setting, I will say. I really do love this.
Training in the Mediterranean.
I hate saying that, but
it is.
And I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Being a Christian, growing up, reading the Bible, learning all the Bible stories, I've always, in my Bible itself, there's a lot of history about who were the Roman leaders at the time, the Egyptian leaders at the time. So you really learn the history of this time period. So seeing all those places that I read about, each week in a board game, it also feels cool. So this is a theme that I really enjoy. And I think for me, the resource management part is one of the pieces that I would say is an enjoyment because of the different values, and it's not easy to just swap goods back and forth. You're really focused on, you have to really focus hard to be able to change the goods that you have or upgrade them or get them. So you really have to plan. You can't just fall into, oh, I got a bunch of resources I need. No, it doesn't happen that way. Rob, what do you enjoy?
There is a fair amount of that. I'll tell you, I've only played this game twice. My first play, it's funny because my first play was a little while back, and I was raving about this game to Carlos and it's been more than a year since probably 2.5 years since I originally played it. Tonight was my second play, and I told him how much I instantly liked this game when I played it the first time. It was instantly, up there around my top 10 games all time, and it's incredible, I guess, that it took me this long to get back to it to play it again. But I'll tell you, both times that I've played this, I really haven't had a whole lot of strategy, and Wayne picked up on that kind of early. I was just kind of buying cards randomly out of the market. It ended up being all the cards Wayne wanted, so I guess it worked out. It handcuffed him because he wasn't getting the cards he wanted. It handcuffed me because I was overspending for some of these cards, but that was my strategy. First time I played is I just bought a bunch of these cards because I know, hey, these cards are scoring multipliers. The other half of that is now you got to do the thing that the card wants you to do to run that score.
It's almost like you did it backwards. Like sometimes a lot of people will build out all their buildings then look for the cards that multiply that. You bought cards first and then played out what you
second half. I started looking at my cards. I was like, well, all right, what do I need to do to get those points? So Carlos talks about not falling into it. You definitely don't fall into it, but I'll tell you, I played pretty loose both of my plays of this, and I still really like it. And I did really well my first play. Tonight I finished, I think, 3rd out of 4. First time I played it, I played a 5-player game. I think I finished 2nd out of 5. So whatever that has to do with anything. So I've had a pretty good play and a pretty bad play, but I really enjoyed it both times. Both times I haven't come into it with any real solid strategy. I've just kind of bought some stuff, did some things, and I feel satisfied at the end of it. It's like, ooh, cool. I can look at the map. I've got some area control stuff going on. I did, at some point get some of those cards and stuff together. So I did at the end of the game. I kind of started thinking about how am I going to score this stuff. Probably a little too late in both of the games that I played. I feel I probably waited a little too long for that strategy. But yeah, it's a fun game all the way around. I like it a lot.
All right. So that was our enjoyment. So next is the A. So BEAN. The A is aesthetics, and this one can go pretty quick. It's a trading in the Mediterranean.
It's got some wooden little bits.
Got
nice
wooden little
bits.
Yeah. No dice, so that Rob likes that, right?
Yeah, no bite, no luck in this. Yeah,
the production is colorful, though. I will say that it's got more color than your typical.
It's not your tan and brown map.
10-year-old Euro. That's just all tan and brown. Yeah, there's a lot of color in it. So
it is a 10-year-old Euro. I think it's 2013.
2013.
10-year-old Euro, but it does have a little bit of color. I got to say the wooden bits, I'm not super impressed with. Sometimes I struggle to get them out of the component trays. Yeah. I don't know. They're just oddly shaped. The cloth seems a little thin. I don't know.
Yeah. You could get better bits.
Yeah, you could. And we're using
they should do
Scythe.
a 10-year anniversary.
We're using Scythe money.
Yeah, some nice heavy coins. Yeah,
Scythe money to play the game with because I spent a lot of money on that Scythe. So I better use it. Aesthetics, there you go. That's it. It's trading.
It is what it is. Yeah.
All right. So that takes us to the N in beans. So negatives. Any negatives, gentlemen?
So the one negative I have is almost inevitably when you first teach somebody this game, they're going to play the game and then go, "Oh crap, that's how you score."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very hard, it's very easy to forget that you're spreading all out through the Mediterranean. You're building your cities. You're moving your settlers. You're getting all these resources. But that's not how you score, although it kind of is, right? What you have on the board helps you score, but it's the cards. And so there's a somewhat of a disconnect sometimes, because even when you're buying cards, you sometimes are buying cards because of their versatility or their use. You want another diplomat or you want another whatever, and you're not paying attention to the god. And I think it takes a play or two to really hammer home the whole idea of you can't just buy a card always buy a card just for the purpose of the card. You have to kind of look at the gods and what you're doing and where does that sync up. That's really the only negative is it's not the game. You're not going to do super great the first time you play, probably.
It's hard for me to come up with a negative. I mean, it really is, and I would agree with Wayne. The first time I played, I forgot who taught it. It might have even been Dan over at Your Turn that was teaching us. I know I played it at Your Turn, but the beginning of the teach started on how do you score, because that's kind of probably the most complex. That's the thing that blew me away with this game. When it was explained to me before we started playing, I was like, it was kind of a little bit in one ear out the other. I was like, okay, I think I grasp it or whatever. Then you play through, but when you actually score at the end of that first game, you're like, oh, that's how that works. Oh, that is really cool.
That's when the endorphin rush comes in.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, that was awesome.
Let's recue that because I did that wrong. I did that so wrong. We need to do that again. But gosh, so I completely turned that into a positive. But
that's what I'm saying. It's like the first time you play, you're going to be like, oh man, that was awesome. But now I need to play again because I played that wrong.
Yeah, but
but the game is not too long that you couldn't do it again. I think we got it done in less than 2 hours.
4-player easily.
So like an hour and a half, we did 4 players.
Yep.
We are on the negatives, right?
Yeah, I was just saying, in the base box, another positive, in the base box, you got this board. The board that comes with the game is double-sided. It's got it's a 2 to 4 player, and then
2 to 4 players on one side, and then 2 to 5 on the other.
So
which is recommended 3 to 5.
There's 4 or 5 other expansion boards over the
That was
years.
my negative. So my negative is going to be the 2 boards that come in the base box. They do up for 3 players, 4 players, 5 players. They do their job. But at 2-player, neither board that comes in the base box is going to do it for you.
Good call.
It's just too wide open. The whole big part of the game is trying to take area so that other people have to spend more money to be able to build in those areas. Yeah. You have to go by the Britannia map in order to find a map small enough to make a 2-player game enjoyable. And that took me a while to find, and I think it was marked up. But I said, whatevs. My wife and I really enjoy this game. And at 2 players, I'm going to need a better map.
I think with Castles of Burgundy and Raw and all the other games from 10, 15 years ago that are the best games from 10, 15 years ago that are getting these super deluxe versions, I don't think it's very long before Concordia gets a super deluxe version.
Wayne pointed out you want to read BJ's comment
BJ. There? One negative is that the game is too much fun. It cares too much.
Too dedicated to its job.
Yeah, it's like when you go to a job interview and they ask you, tell me something negative about you.
Yeah,
I care too much.
You got to turn it into something positive.
I'm with BJ, though. He said this is a top 3 for him. This is a top 3 game for me, yeah.
So in final summary, as an S, we're giving it the beans here. The S is summary. In summary is buy, try, or deny. And I'm calling this one a buy.
Buy.
Yeah, buy. I think it's 100%. Like a $40 game.
Yeah, automatic
it's
buy.
It's not expensive.
It's not.
Yeah.
Now, the negative again, the damn box size.
Oh,
it's horrible.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
It's thin, and it's like
weird.
A tabloid sheet of paper. Look at that. Compared to my head. You see that?
That's the thing. Yeah.
That doesn't fit anything. It doesn't
it's
work.
It's a weird box size, yes.
But to me, it's a buy. Robert?
Oh, definitely a buy. Yeah, absolutely. For the price, I mean, you're not getting a great production. And I know Mr. Jeeves here in the chat asked, I don't know if we showed it up there, but he asked, does this game warrant a Castles of Burgundy deluxe version?
I think it will. Raw just got one. Castles of Burgundy just got one.
Yeah.
I think Concordia is 10 years old. It'll get one soon enough.
Yeah, but I want it done like on the hide of an animal, like the map.
Something like that.
Wayne, you were a buy as well?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get some feedback from all the way in Seattle. Mike, we just gave you the quick give it the beans on Concordia. You have not played. Based on our discussion, what are your thoughts on your desire to play Concordia?
Typically, games that have this type of aesthetic, I'm usually turned off of just because it doesn't, it's not like, oh my God, that looks amazing. But typically when I end up playing games like that, I usually like them from the way that you guys are talking about it, all the positive comments that we're getting here while you guys were talking about it. It seems like something I would enjoy. I mean, I would definitely... It keeps popping up on everybody's lists anyway.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like something that I would enjoy playing. And I didn't know it was that cheap, actually. For $40... for something that's this highly regarded, seems like a definite buy.
Yeah, I agree. We got 1 minute till we open the phones, and so I want to do this real quick before we hopefully get flooded with phone calls. So I'm going to put this on my board. It's already on Carlos's board. I don't know if you mentioned that already.
At number 9.
Number 9 in recently played games for Mr.
No,
Carlos.
number 8 for me. Number 8.
Oh, it's going up.
8?
It's going up.
It's 8 right now. So yeah. But I'm gonna put it on my board. So yeah, I like this game a lot. Again, I've only played it twice, but it's still gonna be pretty high. I'm gonna be around top 5, man. Top 5 for this one. It's pretty high. Yeah.
It's getting tough.
And it's up there with Tyrants of the Underdark. I might squeeze it in maybe number 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go 6. I'm gonna go under Tyrants of the Underdark, above What is that? Thunder Alley above Unsettled. So that's where I'm going to go.
Another game above Thunder Alley. What's coming
I
up?
know. Don't give me crap over that. But
Losing friends, Robert.
Guild of Merchant Explorers coming off the board there. So,
And so I update my board at the end of the month, so you'll know. But it's going to be top 3 for me, easy.
Nice.
Top 3?
Oh yeah, it's Brass Birmingham, Castles Burgundy, Concordia. Probably going to be my top 3.
You know, I'm not opposed to that right now. I'm looking at my board, and folks, we'll open the phone lines in just a moment. I'm currently at number 8 on Concordia. That was after, I think, 3 plays with my wife, 2-player. That was 2-player.
Right.
That's where that's how high I got up at 2-player. My first time playing at 4-player on a tight map, and I won. I will exclamation or
Asterisk.
disclaimer asterisk. I won.
That bumps it up at least 2 notches
It's
on
over
your list.
Tyrants.
I'm changing as you go.
It's over Viticulture.
It's going over Tyrants for me, too. I'm going to move it up one more spot. Over Tyrants behind Mosaic for me.
Okay.
Come on, keep going, Carlos. You know you want to.
I love Crusaders.
Crusaders. He's a big fan of Crusaders. They're at 4.
That is a good game, though, man.
Us Crusaders is sliding down.
What?
It's better than Cascadia.
Better than Cascadia, up to 3.
I'm slowly
better than
but
Cascadia.
surely turning Carlos into
Oh,
an
let
old
me show you
gamer.
on the
You let
map.
him talk you into that. I mean,
There's our board.
he says Birmingham Castles and that, and you just matched them. So y'all might as well be the same person.
Well, because I also played Mosaic this week, so I can modify Mosaic
Oh.
as in the rules. So there's our review of Concordia, by
who's
Matt
this?
Gertz.
Gertz, that's
Matt
it.
Gertz, yeah.
And that'll wrap up our review. We'll post it up separately for y'all that didn't catch it in the conversation.
Open that phone line.
And we will open up the phone lines now.
Oh, you even have phone lines on
No
the scroll.
regerts.
Yeah.
It's not lines. It's one
Line.
line, folks.
Well, look,
the
if we
shell-
get like a Patreon
Don't let
going
'em fool
and,
you.
and
Don't let 'em
people
fool
can,
you. It's one
can
line.
pitch in, we can get more lines.
One at a
Michelle, a
time.
big fan of Concordia, also.
yeah, one at a time. Don't cram in here.
All right, let's
we
see.
need
Phone
it.
lines are open. 813-618-7099 is the number if you want to call in and tell us your opinions on Concordia or whatever else you want the topics to be.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlos, do you have a landline at your house?
It's VoIP. Everything's VoIP.
Okay, I just didn't. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's landline-ish.
well, that's what I mean. Like, do you
Landline-ish.
have a phone number for your home? I guess
I do.
should say.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We could try that one day. We're trying to find ways to reduce the delay in the phone calls.
Yeah, there's a little lag on the phone
Every now
calls.
and then,
yeah.
yeah.
There's-
That's
know.
what you get when you do a little bit of a. Oh, here we go.
There it is. First caller.
It's going to be.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Chris calling from Austin. How you doing?
Hello, Chris from Austin. Thanks for calling the show. We're talking about Concordia. What do you got going on?
I'm calling from Austin, Texas. Just wanted to get some feedback from you guys to see if you were to design a board game, what theme and mechanisms would you incorporate into your board game?
Oh, that's a
That's what I'm
big
talking.
question.
These are the calls I like.
That's a big hard hitting
Oh,
topic.
yeah,
Gosh.
Man.
Well, let me just say, I've always people in this hobby always talk about this, and people have. Again, I consider myself still fairly new to the hobby, even though Carlos introduced it to me
15 years ago now,
15,
Rob. You
almost
can't
20
say
years
you're
ago.
new
So
anymore.
I'm still
Yeah,
new to
you're
the
not
hobby,
new.
so I'm not a hardcore one. But I have told people I have absolutely no interest in designing a game. There are people way smarter than me with degrees and all kinds of crazy stuff that design games.
Mathematicians,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I love playing games. I consider myself a pretty decent gamer. But gosh, I mean, this is a real tough one for me because, I mean, I've got my favorite mechanisms. I can tell you what my favorite mechanisms are. I can tell you what my favorite themes are. But as far as if I was to design something, gosh, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. But if you guys chime in here, if you have
That was
any
a
thoughts,
lot
A lot
of
of nothing.
words.
A lot of nothing.
That was a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
I had to put that out there, but I'll
I
think
don't
about it
know.
while
I
these
would-
guys talk. But yeah.
Wayno.
I tend to like the medieval theme. Anything medieval, ancient world, I like that. And
You
certainly-
love those games that have the ugly guy,
the ugly guy,
the
on
ugly
the
white
cover.
guy on
Yeah,
the
ugly
cover.
white guy on the cover. Yeah, that's- I've been gaming. Yeah, so I mean, I think if you think about like set collection or like with an engine builder, right? So where you're like, and this is what this was, right? So you're collecting sets of cards, and you're building an engine. You're putting out your settlements. You're building up an area. And similarly, you look at Castles of Burgundy. You're building an engine to score points,
Yeah.
and you're doing so by building settlements. I like viticulture. You're building buildings. You're building out your winery to then build an engine to score points. And so, like, I like games like that where I'm building something. I'm not a huge engine builder though. So like
Ah.
the
Carlos'
what's the
deal.
time of the world? Whatever, or not history of the world. The
Tracking the world.
no, The one where you have
We'll
4
come back to you,
rounds, you're
Chris.
playing the cards and they have the tags on it. Anyway, I'm not a big one with like tags, like Terraforming Mars and stuff like that. I like Terraforming
Mosaic?
Mars, like not Mosaic.
Oh,
I'm thinking
okay.
of- It's a Wonderful World. There we go. It's
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Wonderful
God,
World.
yeah,
Game like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like
Okay.
I don't know. It's almost like it loses me, and like
Yes.
I can't think about like what's. I need to. I don't know. So I don't like that kind of stuff. But I like building a world, building a tableau, or building a not tableau necessarily, but building something, and then using that to score points. So building structures, building. So Crusaders, you're moving across. You're building your buildings as you move, and you're using
Yes.
those to score points. So those kind of things. And something like that is that those. If you look at my top 5 or 6 games, they're all that same. I'd say my wheelhouse.
I think I'm with Wayne on that one. My favorite games, unabashedly, I like games about colonialism. I mean, I grew up in Puerto Rico and then Florida, and a lot of our architecture, a lot of our buildings have to do with the Spanish. St. Augustine with the fort there, Puerto Rico's with the. I love that time period, learning about it, the history of it. 1600s, 1700s, learning about. So it has to be a history game,
Like
but it
Age of
has to
Sail.
be Age of Sail. It has to be spreading your civilization out, spreading your influence out. I really love that feeling.
Yeah.
But I like engine building.
And that's
so
like brass. You're building, spreading out influence.
a
building
network
buildings,
or so when you
networks.
even
Yeah.
if you lose, you can sit back and look and see.
You did
It
a
is
thing.
mine.
You built a
I
thing.
built this
Yeah.
thing.
You took a
And-
thing. Yeah.
But I wouldn't know. I think mechanism wise, I don't know. Engine building, I don't think is a mechanism in a sense because you can do it so many different ways.
Right.
But I love that
There's certain
feeling
styles.
of getting better at what I do, so that at the end of the game, I'm doing much better.
It's almost like we got to come up with multiple ways of saying engine builder because an engine builder can mean different things. now.
In different ways.
All right, your 2 cents, Mike.
Mike.
First top thing on my list is asymmetrical powers. You
Oh
guys
yeah,
know that.
that's big for me.
I love
Yeah.
that. Having powers that nobody else has at the table that you can kind of directs the way that you play a game, depending on like who you might get dealt if you're like playing a certain character or something. Next on my list is I love combo-rific games, like anything that can. I don't know. I guess that's the way my mind works, where I can look down and say, okay, well, if I do this, and it's going to allow me to do this, and it's going to give me 3 of those, which is going to let me buy that, and I can just create this huge, spread of things that I did from this one move at the beginning. It makes you feel smart, and it makes you feel good at the end of it, when you figure it out. Those are easily my top 2. If I had to pick a third, deck building. I know it's been played out a lot. Don't get me wrong. I know that, but if you can get a good deck builder, it's just something that lets you mitigate your crap cards easy and build up a really good hand. That it's a delicate line that you walk because you don't want something so powerful it's just going to wipe everybody else out at the table too fast. So it's hard to control that, but those would be my top 3 things I would want in the game. But what about you, Chris? What do you got?
Well, on the heels of the first question, do you enjoy simultaneous action selection in your games?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. It reduces the downtime. I
Yes.
mean, that's a big plus. Keeps
Yeah.
everybody involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're watching what other people
That's
are
the
doing.
piece I missed to talk about Concordia, how snappy it was. It
Yeah.
was so fast.
Quick turns.
A game that can be quick and simultaneous action selection can help make that happen.
Yeah, totally. Like for me, just decreasing the downtime of the game, increasing the player interaction. It's one of my favorite mechanisms for sure. Like a couple examples: Terraforming Mars, Ares Expedition, Heat Pedal the Metal, one of my newer favorites.
Yep.
Race for the Galaxy, obviously, Gloomhaven. I just love the interaction, the lack of downtime. You're always involved. You're always engaged. It's just a fun one. And then for me, worker placement's always a good one. Deck building, a lot of the ones you mentioned, tableau building, engine building, all of you guys mentioned are also my favorites. But I was thinking today about the simultaneous action selection. I was like, man, that's probably one of my favorites that I don't even think about, but I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the ones like simultaneous actions, and then when the follow action.
Yeah.
Is another new one that's getting a lot
Oh,
like
yeah.
Earth
Yes.
has it.
Yeah.
And, like
I mean, that's Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Right,
That's
that follow is
Heroes
cool, yeah.
of Land, Air, and Sea. I love that Gamelin Games does that. Has been doing that follow mechanism.
Scott Ohms.
And especially, Scott Ohms as the designer. Thank you. Especially when you have to pay for it. and you have a limited resource
Gotta make
of when you
decisions.
can follow. So do I follow now, or do I count on Rob doing the thing that I need him to do?
TI4, one of your favorites. Yeah, you got to
Right.
make that decision. You got limited resources. I got to spend a resource
Good
every time I
call
want
on
to
the follow.
Yeah.
That is a fun mechanism.
That's a good one. Yep.
So have you
Totally.
played?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. This is your first time caller. Tell us what's your favorite game of all time.
Oh man, Western Legends.
that's a
I
good
love
one.
that game. I know I'm higher than most people on it, but I just love the sandbox nature, and I have the expansion, the anti-up expansion.
Nice.
I just love the interaction at the table that brings. And it's funny because I love Euro games too, but I love the Western theme. I love the interaction. I love how you can kind of choose what path you want to do to get points. And I just love it. That's my number one, but I can go through my top 10. Most of them are Euros, just like straight Euro games, but I just love that one. And I love the components, man.
Yes.
I've got like everything for it. Oh, it's a beautiful game on the table.
Well, that's a good one. You asked about designing a game. If that would probably be my theme if I had to design a game. I think Western is a little underdone. I mean, not way underdone, but I would like to see more Western games out there. I love that setting.
Just not well done. Not
Right. Not,
too-
there aren't any that
It's
really
like pirate
jump out.
games. There's
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Flick 'em up,
but they
and this and that,
mostly
yeah,
stink.
like-
Yeah. Agreed. Yep. Good call.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call, man. We really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't be a stranger.
Thanks for all you guys do. It's a joy. And I've only been listening to you guys for a few months, but I love it. I think I actually saw, I think I heard about you on a different podcast.
Cool.
Is how I found out about you guys. You did like an interview with somebody. I can't remember which one, and I started listening to you guys since then. So thanks so much.
Carlos is
I'll
smiling.
definitely be calling in with some more. Oh, he's smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carlos was the one I think that did the interview. Actually,
Oh, yeah,
Carlos.
We've done so many lately.
we've had a handful of them,
and
yeah, so-
and I think that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts of what I've been doing is getting to know people in the industry, getting to ask questions, and then getting my viewers access
Yeah.
to those people.
Yep.
Where they can call in and talk to them directly. I love that piece. Just connecting my gaming community with the gaming
yeah.
industry is it brings me joy to
Yeah.
see that joy in my community.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those connections. Yeah.
Thanks for.
I
thanks for
remember now,
noticing.
Carlos. It
Yeah.
was Ant Lab.
Oh,
Games
yeah.
did an
Ant Lab
interview with
Games.
Ant Lab.
There you
It was
go.
like 5 of you guys all in there, and that's how I found out about y'all.
Anthony and Francis are great people.
Yep.
They have been helping me learn and grow in this content creation space. So I'm glad that helped you find us.
Oh, that's awesome. And then last thing, I got my top 10 list pulled up here.
Okay.
So,
Do it.
Number 1, Western Legends. Number 2, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
My man.
It's up there.
Number 3, Rococo, the deluxe edition.
There you go.
That's a Wayne win. Yeah.
Wayne is telling me to push the button.
Number 4, which I think is underlooked because it's an older game, Francis Drake.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
I haven't played that one.
It's
love
in
that.
the age of sail, right?
I've only played it once, and it was like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I need to play it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. And then number 5, Marvel Champions. It's got great solo. I love it solo and 2 players.
That's a
Seattle
good one.
nods
Marvel
his head.
Champions, the card
Heck
game.
I got to play it.
This is one that's a little bit not as well known. Dino Genetics, so not.
That's the one that people prefer over.
gosh, yeah.
Some people prefer
Dinosaur Island?
Yeah.
Did they come out around the
some
same
people do.
time?
I just
time.
like the
Yeah.
simplicity. They did, yeah. And then Everdell, number 7.
There you
number
go.
8, Raiders of the North Sea.
Nice.
Raiders of the North
And
Sea.
then
That's
number 9, this one's kind of underrated. Reavers of Midgard, not
Oh.
Champions. of
Oh,
I haven't played that one yet.
All
I
right, you
haven't
lost
played
me
that
on that one.
Like a
man. Sorry.
pork salad.
It was nice talking with you, Chris. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all have a good one.
number 10.
What's your 10? What's your 10? Mike was just messing
Yeah,
with
I'm joking with you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I talked a long time. Carnegie. That's
Oh,
the newer
okay.
game.
Oh,
Still
okay.
need to play
I like
that.
Carnegie.
I like
Carnegie's
it.
good.
I haven't played it
Yeah.
yet.
It's good.
Okay.
I watched like 3 documentaries on them after the game came out.
Oh, it's great.
I wanted to be ready,
They have
like
the-
for theme.
They have the
to be ready.
History Channel has like the Men Who Made America, and they have. Yeah, I love that. That's good. Yep.
All
Great
right, cool.
selection.
That's
of
a good
games. You know
list.
what?
I love it. That's a good diversity of games too. There's
Yeah,
some just
yeah.
different games in there.
Western Legends at the
Yeah,
time.
for sure.
I like it. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Have a good
All right,
night.
well, I'll let some. You too.
Don't be a stranger. Thanks for calling, Chris.
Yeah, man. See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Always good to have a new first-time caller.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, awesome.
I like that. Call in and tell us like your top 5-10 games or something.
Yeah.
That,
That could be a
Especially
thing.
when it's
Yeah.
when it's somebody new that we haven't talked to
we don't know
before.
their portfolio.
Yeah, we know like when Ron, we know what Ron's games are. We know One Ring and things like that. So yeah.
Kyle Jeeves says this is a fun call. Yes.
Call
Yes.
coming in.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
This is Ron from Atlanta.
Hello,
Hey,
Ron.
Ron.
Second caller.
Ron,
of the
you
night.
got beat out by a first-time caller.
Woo!
Hey, man, I had a toddler I had to take care of.
Oh, man, making excuses. All right.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
All right, Ron, have you played Concordia?
No, I have not.
Have not played it. Okay. Probably no opinion on it then. What you got going on?
Trading in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
That's not my thing.
Not your thing?
Well, our last caller said his number one game was Western Legends. Well, I thought of you.
Yeah, Chris from Austin has some great taste.
Good
man.
taste,
Western
yeah.
Legends, Austin, Arnak,
Nice.
Marvel Champions. A little bit of Everdell. You know what?
Not bad.
We had a great time
Yeah.
on Friday. We, Ron, myself, and Wayne enjoyed a great RPG conversation. So hopefully you folks caught that. If not, go back into either the podcast or the YouTubes, and you can go in and watch the replay of it. We enjoyed talking about RPG games, our history, where we came from. Then we talked a little bit about the state of RPGs, like the state of the industry as we see it. And then we went through tips that we gave for people who are looking at getting into some RPG games. We had some callers call in. We talked about some RPG stuff. And then ultimately we committed Rob to play
I heard about this later. Yeah.
an RPG game at Dice Tower, which is going to be DM'd by none other than Tabletop Ron Fraser. Ron Talks Tabletop. Whoop, whoop, my man right here on the phone. So thank you for joining me on Friday, Ron.
Yeah, it was fun. That was a lot of fun. And it was a big deal for me because that's my game night actually.
Yeah, he gave up game night to join us, and we thank you for it.
Yeah.
What do you got for the folks at home?
What do I have for the folks at home? So, it was, man, I was feeling I was feeling kind of sad about this announcement that that your term was going. I never even got a chance to visit the place.
Yeah, it's a really good place.
Yeah, I understand why Dan decided to close down shop, but it's just a bummer, Like you guys know, you visit game stores and you can get. There's some game stores of varying quality.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like.
But I think this is Robert's first. Like Wayne and I, we were talking. We went through
5.
right. Like we were saying names of owners, people that played at them, and we didn't know each other, but apparently we shared a lot of the same people, a lot of the same places. We just didn't play on the same nights. And we're like, wow, remember when that closed? Yeah, John and Paul owned that place, and you remember Lance, that British guy with the lisp? Oh my God, And this is Rob's first time having a shop that he plays at shut down.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's disappointing. Yeah, I mean, it's really. I know Dan pretty well, and so I've talked to him a little bit about it, and they've struggled through the years. Opening right when the month that COVID was happening and everything was closing down certainly didn't put them off to a good start. And he just kind of lost the joy for it. He enjoyed doing it for a couple years, and he liked running it, but it became more of a chore than enjoyment. And so he's mentioned he wants to get back to playing games. He wants to get back to coming to game nights on weekends and doing stuff like that, and
Doing
instead
YouTube
of running the
videos.
shop.
That's
YouTube videos, doing some of the other stuff he's got going on. So yeah,
before I had a child, I used to brew beer, right? And I brewed beer with a guy who was a really good brewer, right? And he actually won like best amateur brewer in Florida year after year, several years in a row. And everyone kept saying to him, "Hey man, you should open a brewery." And he's like, "No, I will never take my passion and make it my job." He's like, I have a day job that pays me well, and I love brewing beer. If I had to make a living brewing beer, I would hate it. And that's kind of like owning a game store. Because several of the guys that I know that open game stores and eventually close, you ask them today, they go, and it sounds like Dan similar, is like, it's, I want to play more games. I want to be in the game world.
Yeah.
Owning a game store is different, and it's tough.
When I talked to, I forget who it was I was talking to this weekend, that I was telling the story to, I think it might have been you, Wayne, that Michael Fortino, owner of Armada Games, which has been around for, how long has Armada been over in Tampa?
Before my second kid, pretty much.
16,
So 15, 16, 17 years.
15-ish.
They've been around forever. Carlos and I, before we did the podcast and we started the show a couple years ago, we had actually kind of talked, lightly on the side about, hey, it would be cool if we could open a cafe, have
We're
our
like,
friends.
let's just pull it out of our 401ks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't tell the wives.
Yeah, we talked about doing it and just quitting our jobs, opening a cafe, and we talked to Michael Fortino, one of many people we talked to, but Michael Fortino told us, do not do it. He said, if there's one thing I can warn you away from, he goes, this will kill the hobby for you. He goes, I've been doing it for 15, 16, 17 years, and he goes, I don't get to play games. I have to watch other people play games all the time. We struggle, from time to time economically, trying to keep the doors open, trying to keep people employed and not having to lay people off or whatever. He said, this is, we got into it because of our love of games, but that's not the right reason to get into it because it's a rough business. So
Yep. He told me the most gaming that he's done in like a decade was the time during COVID when he came over here weekly and played a game here.
Yeah.
Like that was the most gaming he's done in forever.
Yeah.
And then once the shop opened up full, I haven't seen him since. We haven't played a game together since.
Yeah.
So back to the grind. So yeah, Ron, it is sad, but I can't say that I'm not disappointed to get Dan back as a gamer at my table.
Yep.
Like, I was glad to see he sent me a message about getting some war games in. I'm like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So
Brighten us up now. Brighten up the mood. Brighten up the mood. Bring us up.
So here's the thing, guys. Like, have you heard of the concept of the third place? So it's a concept where you have home. Home is your first place, and then the workplace is your second place. It's and then like spaces that are separate from those two spaces that you frequent is a third place. Like maybe going to a church or a library or whatever, places like that. And the thing is that like third places are keys to the community. And so for us, geeks, it's the game store. And like, and I think that some of the better game stores understand this concept and really lean into this concept. And it sounded to me like Your Turn was one of those places.
Definitely.
And I'm fortunate that I have two places that are like that. Instead of being like a clubhouse store or just kind of basically a storefront where you sell and sell magic cards and run magic tournaments. It's something that's really it's really important for us to have that place. I mean, it's great to be able to play board games at home, right? But like, it's also great to be out there in a place where you can potentially meet more people.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to go and fellowship over something that you have in common, right? And
Yeah, you definitely need that place, like a home away from home and away from your friends' homes, like a centralized location where like-minded people can kind of get together and really enjoy each other's time. But definitely. Your Turn was definitely a place like that. And I don't live in Florida anymore, but Armada is always welcoming. And everything from war games to cards to board games, they had that area set up on the other side of the place there.
Yeah, and Mike, you were only 5 minutes down the road from Armada, so
I
I
wasn't
really
even
felt like
5
it was your
minutes.
second home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was less than a mile from that place. I could have walked there if I wanted to. I was so close.
What's this walking you speak of? I'm not familiar with
I
that.
don't know. Not in that Florida heat.
yeah.
Well, Ron, you're very deep today with your topics.
Yeah, it's
And what's sad is like I had to check myself a second there, Ron. You were talking and you're like, you're third place, and I'm like, I really want that to be like. I hope that's church. Like I hope that's. But then I'm like, oh wow, it's so.
Multiple places.
There are multiple places that are your third places.
Yeah, multiple places are your third place. Yeah. Also, this is one of those things where, in other hobbies, like with Dungeons and Dragons, and by Dungeons and Dragons, I'm talking about like official Wizards of the Coast Dungeons and Dragons. There's kind of been a push to really focus on the digital, and I don't think that this would happen with board games. I don't really see this as being a thing that's challenged in the board game space. But I really hope that that other hobbies can really continue to embrace that concept of the third place, that physical place where people can come and meet and congregate.
And I don't even think, I think, Ron, we've seen it before with Wizards of the Coast and D&D trying to push to a virtual tabletop and virtual gaming. And that's going to be, there is a big thing of it. But I still think there's still going to be people who may start online, they're eventually going to move face-to-face or even playing via Twitch or Zoom together. I mean, I don't buy that D&D is going to go all digital, all online, because everyone that I have friends all over the country. We try to play digitally and it doesn't work. It works for a while, but it's so much easier to get distracted. There's a virtual tabletop here at the, you can put a TV. I think that's the future, is people having us in a room together.
I've been watching videos on how to build one.
Yeah, stuff like that. I still think a lot of people are still going to, that third place is still getting together and playing in person.
Yeah.
You can do stuff virtually while we're in person, but all virtual, I think there's a niche for that, and we do it when we need to, but I want to get back to in-person gaming, even RPG. But he's right, though,
Thank you, Ron. Great topics, man. Good times.
Yeah. So remember, folks, don't forget about your third place.
There you go.
Yeah, support them.
There you go.
Support them financially, support them emotionally. Don't lose them, because, Rob, this pain is going to linger. You're going to remember this.
I'm going to feel the sting for a little while. Yeah. It's going to hurt.
It's nothing like the first time. Fortress games, man. I loved Fortress games.
Fortress,
I
Dice
I played my
Freaks.
first Warhammer game there, man. I used to play, what was that, the Star Wars TIE Fighter versus X-Wing. They used to have 4 computers networked together.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I got in so much trouble staying there all night long. I'll leave those stories for another night. Thank you, Ron.
All right.
Thanks, Ron.
Have a good night, Ron.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks.
I remember I got back from Puerto Rico from my grandfather's funeral, and the first thing I did was go to Fortress Games and played games till 8 in the morning. And my wife's like, "You didn't come to the roller rink that night. Like, you just got back from Puerto Rico." And I'm like, "Oh crap, that's right. I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks." And first thing I did was I went to Fortress Games and played video games.
Yeah. But you think about it, too, is like when
It was my third place.
even board games. Think about cons or conventions too. Like how many people when they go to Dice Tower East or when they go to Dragon Con or Gen Con, it's like they're going home, right?
Yeah, you can feel free to be yourself.
So,
He was talking about the virtual thing, and I think one of the biggest detriments to the whole virtual space of playing games has been for me the Zoom login thing. Like that whole having to get into the room, everybody gets in, you have that awkward hello, right? It just feels so much like work now that I don't even like doing it. Like it feels like work.
I get too distracted too. Like if I'm on my computer on a Zoom, we try to play D&D, and we have some of our good friends that we game with moved out to Seattle actually, and we've tried to do gaming, and it's 9:00 our time, it's only 6:00 their time. It's 9:00 their time, it's midnight our time, or whatever it is. It's hard. And then if I'm on Zoom and I'm like, if I'm not active in the scene, or if I'm not immediately doing something, I'm like Facebook or.
It's just like work.
Yeah, it's
It's just like work. I mean, we're doing a Zoom meeting at work, and if I'm not active,
I'm taking turns on PGA.
Phone lines open, folks. 813-618-7099. For anybody who may be newer to the show, we have the one phone line. So if anybody's trying to call and
call in
if it's busy, it's just because somebody's on the phone with us. So as soon as that call's over, call in and be next in line there. So
Somewhat scandalous. You guys remember? So there was the Kickstarter. Becca Scott and like that whole group is doing
Oh, yeah.
News channel.
that news
Oh,
channel.
yeah, I saw,
right? Did
yeah.
you hear what happened though?
No.
They were their Kickstarter they were
It's
shooting
like 6,000 people already.
Yeah, they were shooting for $150,000, right?
Oh man, I want to hear this story so bad.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Chris again from Austin. I have one more question for you guys.
I love
before
it.
we'll call it.
Yes.
Keep the show live.
what's the question?
Okay, question. So, favorite gaming experience or favorite experience from a convention?
Oh, I got mine.
Gosh.
From a convention? Does
I
it
think it's
have
harder-
to be from a convention?
Yeah,
All right.
specifically for a gaming convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it have to be a board game or can it be a role playing game?
Okay, look, I wasn't there.
Let's just say any convention.
I wasn't
any
there.
gaming convention.
All right.
I wasn't there, but the stories come up every year, and I had never done Dice Tower. Robert had always kept trying to get me to go to Dice Tower with him.
Oh, I know where this is going. But I know the story.
My son's birthday is July 4th,
Uh-huh.
and Dice Tower is always July 4th. July 4th was always our camping weekend, so I never went. So Robert started going without me. My first year coming, I hear the story about Robert. Robert the Ghost is how they looked at him. People would tell me about how Robert would just like 3 a.m. out of the fog, just come walking into the park. Because in Florida, in summertime, it gets foggy at
Everything's-
night
yeah,
because it gets a
everything's
little
foggy,
chilly, gets a little foggy, and he just comes out of the fog into the game
It's so
room.
funny that you would remember this.
What
as
are
a
y'all
story.
playing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. And then kind of drifts away and like disappears.
In and out of the fog.
He was always like a lurker,
Yeah.
like a watcher.
I like to hang out. I was still early in gaming, and so I would float around to tables and I would just watch people play. I wasn't as interested in playing as I was just kind of taking it all in. It was my early days in conventions, so it was my first few conventions, and then I know the one you're talking about specifically. I actually slept in my car because I was my plan was for those who don't know, it was over in Orlando. Where the Dice Tower East now is, but where the Dice Tower conventions originally started was in Orlando, Florida. We live in Tampa. It's about an hour, depending on traffic. It could be an hour and a half between the two. But my plan was originally that first year was to drive back and forth every night. And so I'd go and I'd play until I got really tired and then drive back home. Well, after the first night of that, I was like, no, that's not happening. So I was a little financially strapped. I wasn't going to pay for a hotel at that point. So I was like, I'm just going to sleep in my car. So this little Mitsubishi Eclipse that I had, a little tiny little car. So I would sleep in the car, but I really wasn't sleeping. I'd sit there and toss and turn for about 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. But then, at about 2, 3 in the morning, I'd be like, all right, I can't do this anymore. So I'd get up, I'd kind of wander into the hall, and this big hall, holds a couple hundred people. There'd be like 30 or 40 people in there gaming. So when somebody comes waltzing in at 3 in the morning, probably was a little disheveled or whatever, sleeping in my clothes in the car, people would notice that. And so
You're afraid he's some kind of spirit. Like,
yeah,
will
there
it-
you go.
But I remember it because it was my first year, and I like to partake in some beverages, so I brought some beverages, and we were sitting outside sometime around 2 in the morning, hanging out with the guys.
Yeah.
And the story came
Story
up
came
about
out.
the year before, creeping them all out. And I just remember I can't remember, it was some cheap beer I was drinking,
Oh,
some
yeah.
tall boys, and I was just dying laughing outside the con.
Yeah.
That was one of the best moments I had.
I love that your favorite con experience
He wasn't
is
there.
about
It was Rob's.
favorite con experience.
Yeah, exactly.
If that doesn't spell hetero life mate, I don't know what it is.
He's my heterosexual life partner.
partners. Yeah. Anyway.
That's hilarious. Mike, what about you?
I had one in my mind. I was
Sorry.
Yeah, that story
Yeah.
from Carlos.
I can
takes-
Oh,
jump into it. You got it?
well. It's not my top. It's probably my second. Just it was getting late. It was we went to Dice Tower, and I was with these guys, and I think it was Rob, Carlos, Dan was there, and just me. So I think it was the 4 of us. And we're playing, and we crack on Carlos for this all the time.
I know what he's going.
We were playing
yeah.
Thunder Alley, and it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I think. And the joke is Carlos can fall asleep anywhere.
Oh,
And
yeah, he can.
He was falling asleep while we were playing, and it was just funny because he was right up, butted up against the table, and as he's falling asleep, he's kind of leaning over, and he's pulling the tablecloth and moving the game across the table.
So we're grabbing him, grabbing the game, grabbing the tablecloth, like, Carlos, wake up!
See, but that I remember that day because I didn't have any beers with me. So what I did is I brought a bottle of rum, and then I would crack a Coke, and just kind of.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, something like that.
That was a good day.
And speaking of Thunder Alley at cons, I know Wayne, you had one,
go
but
for
that
it.
just
Yeah,
jogged my memory. So dovetailing off of that would be, I think, Escape WinterCon when we had Popeye's chicken. It was right after the new chicken sandwiches came out, and so we had to. Everybody was talking about the battle of the chicken sandwiches. There was a Popeyes just right across the street.
Oh, man.
From the hotel.
I hit that Popeyes 3 times that
We
trip.
got in so much trouble, man.
Well, I hit it once, and that was enough for me. So
hit you back.
So we were playing Thunder Alley at about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. Well, it probably wasn't quite that late. It was 11 or 12 o'clock. But Carlos all of a sudden looks over at me, and he's like, "You look like a ghost. What the hell happened?" I'm like, "I don't feel so good." I made a run. I was like, "Carlos, you're gonna have to play the next 5 or 6 turns for me because I'm out of here." So I made a run for the restroom, and I think
You were out for like a few hours.
Oh, yeah.
I ended up taking him to the bar
Yes, you did. Yeah.
so that I can get him a ginger ale.
Yeah, so I could try
Because
to
his
feel
stomach
better.
was killing him so bad. Now I got me a mule.
Chicken. That's hilarious.
Bad Popeyes.
Bad
Escape
Popeyes. I think
WinterCon.
so. William talked about sharing a room with you guys, and then the
Oh, Chris, you started something now.
We've done
the
that too
nerdy
many
ways.
times, yeah.
But I think so. I'll say so. Mine is I have had legacy rooms at Dragon Con for 15, 20 years now. So I have 3 hotel rooms in the Hilton, and so you think 3 double bedrooms. That's like 6 people. No, we fit 24 people in 3
Oh,
rooms.
my.
Sometimes
Wow. Crazy.
8 per room. Sometimes whatever.
Well, how many-
People's
yeah, how
air
many-
mattresses too.
You
Couples
figured
in-
out, Rob. You figured out.
Couples
many
in the
do we have?
beds, single people on
That's
the
a fire
floor, and
hazard.
things. So yeah, but that's like all at Dragon Con, right? So
Yeah, I
yeah.
know.
But and it's my wife's theater kid friends who don't have a lot of money, so I'm like, yeah, whatever, just come in the rooms.
Yeah.
Maybe we fit in, it's fine. So that's big. But I think for me the biggest one was the Firefly RPG came out. It was written by Tracy Hickman. He wrote a module for it. Tracy Hickman wrote Dragonlance novels. I'm a huge fan of his. I was a huge fan of Tracy Hickman and the Dragonlance stuff. My wife was a huge Firefly fan, and she was Firefly fan. And she was my girlfriend at the time.
Say that
Yeah,
fast.
say that 10 times fast. And he was gonna auction off 6 spots to play in an RPG game at Dragon Con that he was gonna RPG, and it was for charity.
Oh, wow.
And so we go to the charity auction, and the auctioneer had no freaking clue how much. This was when Firefly was big. Tracy Hickman is Tracy Hickman. There's 200 people in the auction room waiting for these 6 tickets, and I'm like, I look at her, I go, how much should we spend on this? I'm like, she's like, oh, we'll spend like $500. All right, that's a lot of money back then. $500 was a lot.
That's a lot of money today. What are you talking about,
I'm
man?
like, because we were just like fanatic. We're gonna do it. And the guy's like, what is this? An RPG game with Tracy? Okay, I'm gonna do this reverse auction. $50. And we're like, what? And like 200. We were sitting in the first row. I jump up and I'll take 2. And he's like, oh, you got 2? And it was sold. And let me tell you, there was about to be a riot because there were people. They were like literally
With
like
more money than you.
more money with me, and they were Firefly fans. So we got these tickets, and it was $50 a ticket, and we go in and we got to play in this 5-hour RPG session with Tracy Hickman as a GM. And my wife and I, we got there early, and we were telling him the story about how the auction went nuts. And I said to him, I said, we were willing to spend $250 a piece, and so we ended up spending $50 a piece. If you tell me what charity you want, we'll make the rest of the donation. Right?
That's cool.
So we gave. He's a Habitat for Humanity. I'm like, oh, that's great. I used to work for Habitat for Humanity in college and high school. We do that, so we're gonna give the thing, and then so we play this. He's got this giant vinyl mat with a map of the Firefly and all the maps that he made himself, right?
Tracy Hickman?
Tracy Hickman. He made
Wow.
it. And boom, had this vinyl mat. We played this 5-hour game session, and then we're leaving, and he's like, hey, take the mat.
No.
He signed it.
That's
His
so
wife signed it.
awesome.
Yeah, that's neat.
Margaret Weiss signed it. He's like, take the mat. I'm like, why? He's like, because no one, like, none of the other players offered to give any extra money. You chose to. I was like, oh my god.
How
we
cool
have
is
Chris,
that?
can you beat that story, Chris? What's your favorite experience?
I can't beat that, guys. I've actually only been to one gaming convention. It was Origins 2019.
Okay,
but
nice.
it was
Before the
awesome.
world blew up.
So Yeah, exactly. Perfect timing, right? So I have four things I can state that were my favorite experiences from that convention and why. So the first one was I got to meet Emerson Matsuuchi, who made Century, all the Century games.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is the nicest guy. He's like the most humble guy too, and he designed these amazing, like easy to learn but lots of depth and good decision making kind of games. And he's just so humble, and I just love meeting him. And he signed my copy of Century and New World.
Dice Tower.
I
play tested his game. I was one of the play testers on the original one, and then he signed a copy for me, so that was very cool.
Yeah, he was a super nice guy.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, and then number 2 was meeting Rodney Smith from Watch It Played. He was another
I haven't
great
met Rodney.
guy.
The nicest
Man.
encounter with
One of
an
these
individual
days.
ever. Right?
Yeah, I got to meet
It
him.
is. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then number 3, I actually won a load of games from a Man versus Meeple meetup. I won like 5 games, and one of them was Pipeline. So I had like a big one and a bunch of other smaller ones, like 5 games I got to take home that I won. So that was cool, like in a raffle. And then the last thing was just playing just a ton of board games in the gaming hall every night, and just meeting lots of people, playing a huge library of games. And I brought some from my lot as well. And then I went. We stayed at Airbnb there. My friend Will and I went, and it was just a great experience. So many cool things, and I'm like, man, I'm so glad I went when I did.
It sounds like you got
lockdown and COVID.
Sounds like your game who's got a better will than ours. He just makes fun of us for how we sleep.
Yeah. When did I play Pipeline
No, that was great.
for the first time this weekend? We actually played that Saturday.
good game. I liked
it was a pretty good game. Yeah, solid.
Cool.
Yeah, very
It's crunchy, man. It's a crunchy one.
It is. It's it was pretty deep. Wayne didn't
It
think
didn't
quite
look
so
crunchy
much,
from my point of
I
view.
didn't think it was as crunchy as you did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty heavy.
I thought the rules were fairly simple. It's
It
kind of
looked like a
Concordia.
tile lane,
The rules were pretty simple, but then there's how you balance out how you build your engine to score.
There's a lot of
It's
options.
deeper than it looks.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. I think
it was good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Cool, man.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. That was
Chris.
awesome.
Great
Thanks
topic.
again for the
Yeah,
call.
Chris.
Colin.
Yeah. Talk to you in 30 minutes.
Yeah, anytime.
Talk to you in 30 minutes.
Thanks.
Chris understands the assignment. Call and show, baby.
It's funny that we're doing this wrong because you and I are talking about runs to the bathroom and cramming people. Wayne's over here talking about meeting celebrities and playing RPGs.
Like,
and so we're doing
See,
something
and that's
wrong.
the thing is, like, Wayne, you and I have the same mindset. When it comes to a con, where you sleep doesn't matter. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I set up a room for us
I was
in
trying to count.
downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think we had
Oh, that one.
5 people.
Yeah, that one was only 5. But
5.
Dice Tower, we had way more than that.
We
Me,
did.
you, Mitchell.
Was Mitchell sleeping in the tub?
But it was
or
a
something?
much bigger room.
Nick.
That was a much bigger room.
It was like 7
We've had people
people.
like grab a bunch of blankets and sleep in the tub.
I slept at Dice Tower. I slept in like a 2-foot wide section between the wall and the bed.
You did. Yeah.
Everybody forgot I was there.
We wedged you in there.
When I woke up in the morning and my arm came up and I had to ask for help to get pulled out of it.
pulled out of
First thing I do at Dragon Con is we take the 2 beds, push them all the way to the wall, and then we have a bunch of air mattresses.
Oh, that's
in
so
the middle,
smart.
And
There
there
you
you
go.
Couples on the beds, and then single people in
We'll
the
have
air
to do that again
mattresses.
next time.
I think
I have like 6 single air mattresses that I load in a carry-on. We fly Southwest, so it's free. Boom! I have a little pump.
It's like a D&D orgy going on over there.
there you go.
Hey, wait. It is 10 o'clock.
It's after 10 o'clock. I made
Orgy
sure.
time,
I made sure.
orgy time.
When we were at Expo, CMON Expo 2019.
Okay, yeah.
I booked that tiny room.
Yep.
Your son had to sleep in the bathroom, I think.
Something like that.
In
Yeah.
the shower in the bathroom to find space.
Or it might have been another little. I know somebody slipped in that little crack again between the wall and the bed. There it was like a foot
That's
wide.
awesome.
But yeah,
But since I was in Georgia near family, I went and skedaddled and
Yeah.
slept at my aunt's house where I got fed. Of
course you
Puerto
did.
Rican food. Of
course you did.
You know, enjoyed
Hell
some,
yeah.
The only
some
thing
company.
you gotta like try to like when you put people in a room, you got to put people that like, all right, the night owl's here, or the gamers here, and then like we have a friend of ours who's a real high end cosplayer. She does Harley Quinn. She's never in my room because she takes like an hour to put on the makeup,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
She's doing makeup for like an hour and a half, right? So I'm like, no, I need to go in, shower, get out. That bathroom needs to be open, you know. Like you can stay in one of the other rooms, you know. So
No,
it's
and,
just
and like Ron Fleischer, he goes to bed early.
Yeah.
Like the man's like, I'm out, and he went straight to bed. So we're all trying to sneak back in, all quiet like. Oh, that was a great con
talking
experience.
about
Let's
the-
talk about that con
that's good.
experience.
and then you also
Memories,
you,
con
you
memories?
guys need to talk about James Odax, that MF giraffe.
oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. But
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
William with the Nerdy Weds.
Hello.
how are you?
Hey, how you doing?
We're reminiscing
Reminiscing.
on con events. I saw you posted about
Yes.
Dragon Con in there. What you got?
Yeah, my first Dragon Con, we actually decided like last minute we were going to go to Dragon Con. It was not a pre-planned kind of thing. It was like a month and a half before. It was 2010, back when you could do that. And a buddy of mine had a hotel room, and they had a bed in the room. And they said, "Hey, why don't you join us in our room?" But they were checking out early. So we ended up having to find a space, and luckily we were part of a group called Concordia that used to run room parties there at Dragon Con, and they had a suite, and I slept under a table.
Nice. You're doing it right. Car, table, wherever it have to be. Yep.
Yeah, that was the only space left of the room. Keenan and I were in there, and I crawled underneath the table and went to sleep.
There you go.
Carlos sleeps on top of the table at the in the convention hall. He doesn't want to leave the hall.
I think somebody else was already on top of the table.
Oh, okay.
I think they had too much to drink that night, and that's just where they landed.
My friend Russ, who the rocket scientist I told you about, he was a little inebriated one night, got off on the wrong floor, and walked to what room he thought was ours, and somebody had left the room open, so he just opened it up, walked in, and went on to sleep on the floor. He woke up the next morning. Some woman was like, "What are you doing in the room?"
You know, that's the state of Georgia. It's open carry in the state of Georgia. They're allowed to carry open.
This was like 15 years ago, but yeah, it was like,
He could get away with it. I, myself, being brown.
A little different.
I don't know. It may have ended up differently. What else you got, William?
That was my big drag. From that point on, Keenan and I have had our own room at Dragon Con. We've had roommates a few times, but we're not roommate people.
Oh, yeah. We usually cram them in. We, like I said, I'm trying to count. It was 7 or 8 that we had at the last Dice Tower.
Oh, man.
think,
And we're all in our boxers playing tumbling dice.
Tumbling dice.
Doing a tumbling dice tournament 2 in the morning while enjoying some beverages.
Yep.
Unreal.
wondering what the
That's not a
rooms
bad way
around
to
us are
spend your
thinking.
time.
No. Those are great memories. That's the stuff we talk about.
And I remember we brought in Mitch into that tradition.
Oh yeah, Mitchell was.
Wait, what?
He was a little creeped out the first year, so the rest of us had done it a few times.
Has he
but
been back?
he came in and we was like, "Hold on, you guys are all in your boxer shorts and t-shirts, playing tumbling dice with a beer in your hand at 2 a.m, and we're in a hotel. This is not right." So,
Louisiana, he's seen it worse.
Yeah, it's Louisiana.
He's in Louisiana. He's seen Mardi Gras.
I do have some other stories for Dragon Con, but they're not YouTube safe.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to get those off air
I don't
later.
care how past 10 it is.
Yeah.
Beans and Dice gets a strike.
Yeah. A marking on the YouTubes. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Unsafe for any viewer of any age, really. Yeah.
Nice.
Any thoughts on our review of
looking
Concordia?
forward to-
Did you catch that?
Oh, yes. We love that game. It's a staple on the table.
Good. At what player count?
Keenan and I mostly play our games at 2-player, but it does scale well. Have not played above 4 players. Have we played? No, we might have played a 5-player, I think, one time.
I've done 5-player
But
once.
still a great game.
Oh yeah, great game.
The game scales really well.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like it got bogged down. You have plenty of choices in the game, but not so many that you feel overwhelmed with those choices.
And that in-game scoring, I mean, that was the thing. Like I've said that over and over, but that's the thing that blows me away. The first time I played it, that in-game scoring, I can't believe that more games haven't done that. I'm sure there's some others that have done that, where you're collecting a thing and that kind of dictates how you play the game and how you end up scoring at the end. But this one, the first time I did it, I was like, whoa,
I can't think of any other game
that's
that has
such a
like,
cool thing.
that kind of scoring.
It's the most Euro game to ever Euro game.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed.
It's that flop of all your cards. You're flopping your whole deck out and scoring the whole
Easy now.
Easy now.
It is after hours.
Wow.
Keep your deck in your pants.
Your whole deck out there.
William, we had you call in on
It's very much
Friday.
like
You called
What's
in on
that?
Friday, and we talked RPGs as well. So we appreciate you joining
that
us
was
for
awesome.
that. I think we've committed you to May's RPG game conversation in the month of May. So we got to get a date from
not the
you.
first time I've been committed.
Listen, she got the worst half of that deal, okay?
Wow.
Pick a date and let us know, And Wayne, myself, and Ron will set up with you, and we'll do a four-way
I
conversation.
think one of the topics we're going to talk is games outside of D&D that are our favorite games.
I had the idea of us not even being allowed to say D&D.
Oh. So you go a whole show on RPGs without saying D&D. That'd be tough.
That'd be tough.
Carlos might have trouble with that.
I can be the host. I'm a great host. I know how to answer. I can answer a phone call. But no, we look forward to having you on for that. So let's make sure that commitment doesn't fall in the cracks, and we get you to pick a date. Make sure you get us a date in May, a Friday night in May. Let's pick a couple, and then we'll all set up. And then for you folks at home that haven't heard about it yet, we did an RPG show. So go back and look in the YouTubes or check your podcast service. Our RPG conversation is on there. William was a big part of that. He called in for, I think, a good 20 minutes we had him on there. Yeah. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was a nice conversation.
That's when I realized we got to have him on the show next time that we can keep the phone line open.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, Wayne, thank you for tuning in for our live stream Sunday. We really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was good. I like it. I love watching other shows, and you kind of learn what people do and talking about, and I always enjoy that. Gives me a chance to chat and stuff. So we appreciate it.
We just literally drove in from San Augustine and popped up on that live, and it was all over the place. But cool. It was fun. We had a great time.
Very cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Hey guys, I appreciate your time, and let you guys get your line open.
Thanks again.
Thanks for calling. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
Very cool.
That's William from the Nerdy Weds podcast.
Which is an awesome show. It's really cool.
I haven't watched it yet, I have to admit.
Him and his wife do board games, RPG.
They're definitely my kind of people because they're cosplay and Dragon Con and gaming, and so it's cool. I enjoy listening to them talk. So
Edmund England says hello all the way from Sweden.
Oh, hey Edmund.
He says the Swedish company Free League have some interesting RPGs.
Okay.
Ron Fraser agrees. Ron Fraser already knows about them.
Well, of course he does.
Of
course he does.
All right, SpaghettiOs.
Okay, yeah, we brought this out. So this is one of the coolest things. I don't even remember whose idea this was. Do you remember how this originated, Carlos? I'm sure there was a good story behind it.
Yes.
Okay.
I know the story, not
have
even.
Stories.
Mike knows.
Stories.
Mike can tell the story.
Well, the story
I wasn't
was,
there for it, though, but I understand.
Yeah.
I know the story behind it, but go ahead, Carlos.
So the year we got the idea for the SpaghettiOs can.
Just hit me.
Another fun story about Rob and conventions is he does not eat.
Nope.
He will bust out some granola bars or some fruit snacks out of his pocket.
Keep you going.
And just keep playing. I, on the other hand, you don't keep this shape without going out to eat. Like, it takes work and effort to keep this kind of body. One year we're playing games out there and we're talking about what are we going to eat. It's William, myself, Robert, Arby's there with us.
We're playing a game. It was.
It could have been Wild Vikings or something.
It's in the afternoon or something. Yeah.
And behind us, William said, "Carlos, look, behind us, this guy's behind us playing a game with maybe his wife. I believe it was his wife. And out of his bag, he pops out a can of SpaghettiOs, and he pops the top." And then he
reaches in his bag,
grabs some hot sauce.
Oh, hot sauce, that's right. Yeah.
Pours it on top.
Yeah.
Then reaches in his bag, grabs a plastic spoon, stirs it all up
good.
and just starts eating right out of the can.
Cold SpaghettiOs right out of the can with Tabasco sauce on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we joked and we laughed, right? And listen, I'm all about saving money, saving time. That's Robert's thing. It's all about saving time.
More games.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I took it. I took it as Homeboy was so hardcore about getting his games in. He cared not about getting up and getting a meal. He had himself set. Yeah. So I joked about next year, we need to bring a can of spaghettis, and we're going to use it as our first player marker.
Was it Nick's wife, Joyce, I think, that brought the can of SpaghettiOs?
So we were sitting playing Outer Rim in the hall, and Nick and his wife show up the following year. Nick Oben and his wife show up, and they come in, and she brings this can of SpaghettiOs and sets it on the table and says, "I heard you guys needed a first player marker."
But it goes way past that, so keep telling the story.
We started enjoying laughing at this. We're taking it everywhere. Next thing you know, we're getting Tom Vassell to sign it.
We figured this would be funny. We got this new first player marker. We were at Dice Tower. Sam, Z, Tom, Steve Bonacore, Eric Lang, all these big celebrities were there. And so somebody came up with the idea. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were like, let's get people to sign the can of SpaghettiOs, all these board game celebrities. And so we have this thing covered in.
I saw Richard Borg on there.
Richard Borg is on there. Tom Vassell, Z, Sam.
Jason the Machine.
Jason Levine, the dance of the gaming machine, they call him. Yep, the
Bonacore.
Stephen Bonacore used to be the CEO of
Stronghold Games. Now he's the Podfather.
Podfather. Eric Lang is on there.
Yep.
Eric Lang signed it, put a little devil horns.
Tom
which is his
Vassell.
thing. Tom Vassell's on there. And Tom remembered us. So it was about 6 months later on an episode of Dice Tower. They were doing board game breakfast or something, and it was me or somebody. I think it was me. I was on there and I texted. They were doing a live show. Actually, it was during Tom's live feedback session where he talks to people. And I went down there and typed in and I said, hey, this is Robert from the convention. Do you remember the can of SpaghettiOs? And he just starts laughing. And he's like, I know that can of SpaghettiOs. He goes, you were the guys who were passing around the can of SpaghettiOs and had everybody signing the can of SpaghettiOs. And so it became kind of a thing. So yeah,
Nick Oben took it home. He lacquered
it so it wouldn't just rub off. Yeah.
My thing was I said, 5 years after, we need to crack it open.
No,
that was
wrong with you,
No.
man.
No.
I mean, it expired February 27th of 2020. Wow, that was COVID, bro.
Yeah.
It expired like when COVID hit.
Right when
Spring
COVID
break
hit.
of COVID.
You need that during the zombie apocalypse.
Carlos
but
is
not
looking
now.
to get botulism over there or something, man.
Well, he's always looking for a little botulism. But
That's cool.
yeah, all these
Don't threaten me with a good
Never
time.
open.
all these great convention memories and stuff. But yeah. And then my other one I thought of is just one of the coolest things was the Dice Tower retreat when I showed up with who was it? Was it Dan? I think Dan and I got there, or somebody got there about the same time, and we went to go get our tickets. We walked up. Actually, it was William, maybe. It was me and William, I think it was, and we walked up to get our tickets, and what's her name? The woman who runs
Sharon.
Sharon said, "I know you guys. We didn't have to give her our name." Or she said, "You're the Beans and Dice guys, aren't you?" And I was like, yes." I was like, "How the heck do you know us?" And she's like, "Oh, Tom knows you. He's right behind you." And I turned around and Tom was like, "Hey, you guys are from the Beans and Dice show. I watch your show." And
Tom
it was
from
like,
Florida.
it was like, yeah, Tom from Florida.
Tom
So
for Flo. Oh,
that was that was the coolest. So
We need to
pretty
make
cool.
that shirt.
yeah,
I know
Tom
Tom
from
That needs
Florida.
to be a shirt. Our Beans and Dice shirt.
Beans and Dice. I know
Tom
from
from Florida.
So for the rest of you who don't know, Tom called in, and Carlos, I was not on the show, and I'm a big fanboy of Dice Tower, I'll admit it.
You were
And-
at your son's
and Tom-
graduation? No, I went to that one.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was.
I was at something.
It's like
but
one of the very few weeks that you ever miss.
Right. I only miss 1 or 2 shows a year usually. That was one of the shows that I missed. And then Tom Vassell calls in, but he calls in. He doesn't identify himself. He's just, hey. So Carlos, with the state your name.
Well, he
where
says,
you're
I'm
calling
Tom from Florida.
Tom from Florida. Yep. And then
I'm typing in the banner.
Carlos is-
Tom from
Carlos
Florida.
is talking to him for a good 10 minutes, and people are
But
in
you
the
get,
chat.
but
You know
the
who
thing
that
is Carlos was very apprehensive at first because he wasn't sure if it was going to be like a prank call.
Prank call.
Oh,
You could
yeah.
tell like he
I'm
was kind of.
always on the lookout for a
Yeah.
prank call.
Yeah.
Like I'm ready to hit the dump
It-
button.
when you are listening on YouTube, because I started as a watcher too, everyone sounds a certain way. In these headphones and through the system,
It's different.
Yeah, it's different.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell his voice. Yeah, you could, because I've watched that show. I've gone back and watched that show. I'm like, my God, how did I not
How'd you
know
not
that was
know that?
Tom?
Yeah,
Right?
it was the two of you,
But
wasn't it?
It was the two
Yeah,
of us.
Wayne
Like,
was
it was just did not sound the same.
Yeah, it's funny. These guys are talking to him, and he's saying, "Oh no, somebody asked him, where do you play games?" He's like, "Oh, I play with the guys.
The guys at work.
The guys at work. We play all these games." It's like, "Oh, what kind of job do you have where you're playing games with guys at work?"
We were talking about not Massive Darkness. What game was he talking about? It was
Massive Darkness.
Oh, Massive
It was
Darkness.
Massive
yeah.
Darkness.
He
Yeah.
told me to sell my copy of Descent,
Descent.
3rd edition,
Yeah.
which I did sell it, and I bought all of Massive Darkness.
Yeah.
I think he actually opened up the call with saying, well, the first thing you got to do is get rid of that Descent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I could tell by Carlos's face, he's kind of like,
Dump
I'm
button.
not sure about
Dump
this
button.
call.
Yeah. This guy's pranking us. Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then so
Then everybody
finally-
was pinging you in the chat, like,
in the
that's
chat,
Tom
you know who you're
Vassell,
talking
man.
to? That's Tom Vassell.
And you know me, if I'm doing the show, I'm like, I'm focused on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm focused on the mixer board, making sure everything's working.
so it's hard.
So all those texts were coming in, and I'm not seeing
Yeah, we're
a
not
single
seeing
one of
it.
them.
And then Mr. Jesus is like, "How do you guys not see that?" All right. And I think was it 2 years ago now, or you guys went to Dice Tower, and that's when everybody was super big on Wild Serengeti.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
like,
Oh,
Back to the
Jesus.
Jim Odak.
this is
yeah.
the greatest game ever. Everyone's got to play Wild Serengeti.
Because
That was
of
last year, I think.
Delicio.
Delicio, right?
Right,
Delicio.
Delicio factor.
Yeah.
And you all came back and were just like,
It was,
no.
it was me, Dan, Mitchell, and
Jim Odak, right?
Jim Odak. We're playing it at.
And you guys failed to finish.
Oh, we only got halfway. We made fun of the people that were playing it, but some other people from our Beans and Dice group were playing it before us.
Michelle
and they,
Gallagher,
Yeah,
right?
the Michelle and a couple other people. Diego, I think, was maybe went on that one, and they were a good 2.5 hours into it, and we were waiting for it to clear because it was in the hot games area. So we kept checking on them every 30 minutes. You guys not done? You guys not done? And so they finally quit, and they were like, well, you know what? We're not finishing it. It's just dragging on, and they were only 3 of 5 rounds or something were done, so they were just a little over halfway. So we were making fun of them. We're like, you guys, this game is supposed to be the hottest new thing. People are
Shouldn't
playing it
take
in
that
2
long.
hours. Yeah. And so we sit down and play it. We started, I would say it was around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So we played in a good 2.5 hours, and we were 3 rounds through it, and we abandoned it also. But there was the thing that came up was the giraffe. You know, this whole game is about you're trying to set up scenes for this animal documentary or whatever. So you're filming these animals out in the wild, and you draw these cards, and you're trying to get the giraffe into the
Oh,
water.
is that what
like
James
Richard
keeps
Attenborough?
pinging in there?
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to set them. You got to get the right animals in the right places, and then play your card to say, I snapped that shot. I took that, that photo, that scene, or whatever. And so the game for us came down to moving a piece. Somebody would move it somewhere that they needed it, and then somebody would move it back. And so, of course, this was one of those things you just had to be there. 1 o'clock in the morning, we're all punch drunk. We're trying to get through this game. It's just dragging on, and then all of a sudden, I forget I think it was Jim or Jim kept moving the freaking giraffe out of the water. So I'd take my turn. So you're taking your whole turn, and I'm moving this giraffe into the water, and I'm moving a couple other animals where I need them. And then Jim was right after me. He'd move the giraffe back onto the land. I was like, okay, well, maybe he needs to do a thing. So it comes back around to me. I move the giraffe back into the water. He moves the giraffe back out of the water. So it just devolved into tears that night when I yelled out, get that MFing giraffe back in the water. And so, at 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was at that point, everybody, the 30 people that are in the hall, all looking at us like, what the hell's going on over there? And we laughed about that for about 30 minutes. So, it's one of those con experiences. It's just one of those things that's going to happen at a con, and you don't know if you're not there. So, yeah.
July 2023, we'll
Yeah,
be there.
We're doing it again, and we're gonna have 10 people in a room, but that's gonna be a
miss
huge.
it.
Got
so
my
much,
room, got my ticket. I'm done. I'm there.
See, what's nice is Rob and I have the families.
Yep.
So I started joining Rob in it. In the way I started doing it, because my oldest is now 20. He'll be 20.
Mine's
Jeez,
gonna be
he'll be
20. Yours will be
21.
21. Yeah.
That's crazy. He'll be 21 this year. But, at about 18, he was done. Like, he was done with the whole family camping thing. But before that, I would do, all right, the first weekend, we'll do the 4th of July at Disney camping, and then we'll all skedaddle over to the Caribe Royale and finish off the backhand of the week at Dice Tower. And that was cool. That was like 2 years of camping. And Rob, you came with us, I think, one time to the fireworks.
stayed a night or
and then,
something,
went over to back to the Caribe Royale.
Yep, that's right.
So it was really cool. But now the kid's done, so now Caribe Royale is our 4th of July thing. So I'm excited to get the family back over there. We usually bring food. We cook as a family. We spend time as a family, and we do gaming. Rob and I. So Dice Tower East 2023. Ron Fraser is going to host a RPG game,
Yeah.
which we're going to
Nice.
make Rob play.
Yeah. They're gonna try. We'll see how that turns out.
He's gonna be the ghost.
I told him
He's going
I'd
to ghost
play,
out on that one.
I told him I'd play and I'd give it a good shot, but I don't want to ruin it for other people because I just don't have the imagination.
You
for
don't
that
ruin
stuff.
it for anyone. You don't.
I hope not. I feel
If
like
you just take
yeah.
your turn mechanically,
Okay.
it's fine.
All right.
Yeah, you can be the gelatinous cube.
Oh, yeah, just sit there and
squish.
blub, something like that.
You like cubes.
Oh, you
right?
rolled a 1. You failed at your blob test.
Oh,
You didn't blob as
blob as
blobbily
as
you
good as I should
blob.
have. Yeah.
Cycling back.
Yes.
Mike, you want to know? So
I gotta
that
hear
dice,
this.
whatever that board game news thing. That
I
they want,
remember
right?
it.
So
Oh yeah.
So they
Dice
had-
Tower
they had a-
talked about it. Yeah.
they had $150,000 limit,
Goal.
right?
Yeah.
And they were only at 80,000, right? And
But they were getting these cash influxes.
They were at 80,000 with a day to go, and then all of a sudden that day to go changed to 8 days to go. Kickstarter gave them another week.
Oh,
What?
wow.
How does that happen?
Kickstarter just gave it to him.
Can you buy that?
No,
Is that like a
it's like
stretch goal with Kickstarter?
Mike, have you ever seen a company get extra time on a Kickstarter? I've never.
I can't say it hasn't happened, but I can't recall a time it ever happened.
Right? Where it's been usually it's, hey, if you're not close, you just cancel the project and come back.
Right, you just relaunch it.
Relaunch.
Yeah.
No, they gave him a whole extra week, and then all of a sudden, like Matthew Lillard and a couple of like celebrities got involved, and then all the cash came flowing in, and they skyrocketed over the thing. But so like if I was like a company that had been on Kickstarter and like was close, like they weren't even close. They were like 90,000 out of like the 150. If I was like within a couple of days to go and I only needed like 10 grand, I'm like, give me another week. Like, kick it out. Why not? Let it go. So I think I've been hearing and seeing some stuff online where some other people are kind of pissed. Like, what the hell? Like, you didn't give me more time. Why did they get preferential treatment? Because why? It's Becca Scott and
her friends.
And her friends, and now they're, So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Now, Wayne, you put me on to a podcast, Board Game Insider.
Yeah.
I hadn't watched it or listened to it before. Which is Stephen Bonacore and Ignacy Trzewiczek.
And now another guy,
the guy from Dice Tower News.
Yep.
He's been helping out.
Yep.
But they were talking about it, how suspect it's been, because the thought process is the idea is the money's already there, like they've already got the capital investors for this,
right?
But they're gonna do the Kickstarter, right? That's where you get your advertising. That's where you get your people.
They want all these game companies to buy in. And
yes,
give copies
trying to get you to buy in, game companies to buy in, and others to buy in, and then the capital investors only have to pitch in the difference. Right. So instead of having like the investor pitching the 100 grand up front or 100 million, whatever,
less risk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I feel like this 150,000, what I've is they're just trying to fund these 10 episodes. And then this is basically a pitch,
a pilot,
pilot season to then go to a streaming service or YouTube Plus or whatever they call it, or like Apple or whatever, and be like, hey, look, we got this. Why don't you fund us?
I still don't get it, man.
I don't.
Maybe I'm missing something, and I don't
really
want to.
board
I'm not
gamers,
poo-pooing on it. I'm just saying I don't understand. How do you have like news? It's a daily thing. News happens daily. How are you going to limit it to 10 episodes? Okay, well, if you talk about the things that already happened in the past, like how many other YouTube channels have already discussed it? Ad nauseum.
There's a million RPG channels. There's a million video game a million and one video game channels. There's a ton of board game channels. So what are they going to do faster than anyone else is already doing?
And maybe they're relying on the personalities. I mean, Becca Scott's a pretty big name in the industry, no doubt,
for sure.
And I'll be honest, I don't know anybody else. Like I saw the
I'm
faces, and I couldn't.
One of them was from. Yeah, a couple of them have done Critical Role. There are a lot of RPG gamers. So, like, if you're into the Twitch
that's
world,
probably
the
why
RPG
I don't know
stuff,
them.
yeah, there's not a lot of board game personalities there. Becca Scott's probably the biggest board game person there.
But I even think they admitted it, where they said it's they're not board gamers.
They're tabletop.
Right, tabletop gamers. So this is not their passion. Board game is not their passion, but they will read a teleprompter on behalf of us board gamers to tell us about board game news. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like
we'll check it out.
struggle finding good board game news channels to watch because I like to watch that stuff personally. I do. And then also for the benefit of my community.
You have
when I do the show, any content
Topics,
I've consumed that week gives me topic for our show.
But like Dice Tower has the news. They have the news podcast and the news on the show.
I love their news podcast.
Board Gamers Insider. You have a lot of. It's
Secret Cabal does a great job with theirs.
Stuff, and Marty Rolling Dice taking names. So you have all these groups that are already doing it,
but none of them look like CNN.
None of them have the production value, right?
Fox News, CNN,
right? But do I really need that?
Do you want that though? And there may be people out there that do want that. Maybe that's what they're looking for, and maybe they can only afford time to tune in once a week.
Right.
And maybe that would benefit them. Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I don't understand it, but I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that do.
And if they do branch out and do more than just RPGs and start doing board games and art game and just general gaming with the personalities and the Becca Scotts and the other celebrities that are involved, will it be a Will Wheaton's tabletop. Like, how many people play games now because they watch Will Wheaton's tabletop? Right.
Yeah.
I think we underestimate the impact that had on the industry a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Because we forget about it, right? Because it's now 10 years old.
I mean, watching Grant Imahara play board games was some of the coolest YouTubing I've done in my life. Period.
yeah.
Like I just would have never thought of it. You know, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
That was cool. Will Wheaton was cool draw, but like his friends,
Right.
to me, were like even some of the more cool draws.
Right. And so if they do something similar, maybe that draws. But I just my not poo pooing because I'll watch it, right? But my thing is are you using the crowdfunding and using people to then fund your project, which is what it's supposed to be anyway. I understand that, but like these are people that probably should have been good. They could have gone their own funding. They could have gone out and gotten, Hollywood people or production people to put the money forward. If they said no, and then you went to gamers and got the gamers to buy into it, and you're just going to spin that into seasons or trying to get a big company to buy it. I don't know.
Which
it just kind
stinks
of rubs me
because
a
like
little
it's
wrong.
been tried before. I remember Tom Vassell was working with a company out of California, and they were setting up a similar thing, like a game, hosting a game and game conversations. Remember, he flew out to a studio. They did a test.
Yeah.
Is this
Yeah,
all
yeah,
making
yeah,
sense?
This
to
was
you?
a couple
yeah.
years ago. I remember that. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
And then that all just kind of, they were supposed to pitch it to either an Amazon
Yeah.
Prime or a Netflix,
Yep.
and it just all flopped away.
Yep.
So that's my worry, is that it's something we would desire. It's just not going to have the backing of the media conglomerate at large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Who knows?
The hobby just may not be big enough yet. I mean, we just may not be ready for that yet.
Yeah, because even G4, they brought back G4 TV.
And now it's gone.
failed
And it's
again.
gone again.
Yeah.
Faded again. And that was, video gaming and stuff like that. And they
We're all too busy playing our games
they couldn't.
to consume content.
It's kind of a different
I
world
mean,
now.
the medium changed a lot also.
Yeah,
And I
agreed.
think once G4 TV, it's kind of like those things that if your favorite TV show went away for more than one season, like if it went away and then came back maybe 2 or 3 years later, it's not really, a lot of the time it doesn't come back and feels the same, like
Right.
the way that you want to remember it or how you did remember
You've
it.
changed. They've changed.
G4 TV was
The
awesome
Right.
world
back in the
has
day.
changed.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I loved G4.
Yeah.
Watched it for years. Yeah.
Back in the
So,
show.
man, I
That's
used
why-
to
and
watch
this-
Tech TV, and I would sit there with my friend, watch Tech TV, and people would call in with their problems. I'd be like, "This is the problem with this computer," and then what's his name would say it, and my friend would be like, "You should have a show like this, man." I was like,
Olivia
Leo
Munn-
Laporte?
Olivia Munn.
Leo
She was
Laporte.
on G4 TV. And then
Was it Leo
Yeah.
Laporte? Was that right?
Leo Laporte.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
does.
love
He
watching
still
that
does
guy.
Twit. He does his.
Twitch
He does a lot of podcasts.
What's
still.
funny is like Tech TV, G4 TV, and do you guys remember like TV1 that used to be in like our high schools? Like they had like a TV. There was like a One News or something like that.
We had Univision.
Yeah.
up in New York, we had TV,
pasa
like there were
USA?
TVs in the homerooms, and like during homeroom, they would have a 10-minute newscast, right? And this was in the 90s, right? And I remember one of the reporters from this like
Robin, I already
nonprofit
graduated
like thing
by
was
then.
Anderson Cooper, like a young Anderson Cooper. He was like 18, 19 years old. He's a thing. And then-
Silver Fox back then?
Yeah, not then. No, he was like not. But it's funny is you see some of these shows and you see how the people, Olivia Munn and Leo Laporte, how they kind of keep coming back around. But
Yeah. Mike calling me out for my age. What the hell?
Hey man, I'm just as old as you are, if not older,
I'm
man.
older. Yeah, I think I'm as old as all you. But no, I just think I think the fact that they got an extra week added to their time counter could rub some people the wrong way. Like if you're going to go to GameFound, if you're trying to decide between GameFound and Kickstarter, I might think twice about Kickstarter right now because like, all right, like you give them preferential treatment is kind of always rubs you the wrong
Well, it's kind of like the OGL with D&D, where they were getting better rates. They proposed better rates for people that use Kickstarter,
Right.
which made you say, what is Kickstarter offering D&D that's allowing them
Right.
to reduce the charge, right? The cost
Yeah.
to run a D&D campaign on there. So it sounds like Kickstarter's got some backroom stuff going with,
bigger companies.
well, I wouldn't say bigger because you wouldn't call Becca Scott bigger,
No,
but
or what her group or whatever that is.
you know, certain companies are getting more access to the Kickstarter than others, which kind of
Dude,
hurts.
there's so much stuff going through Kickstarter. I still think every.
You mean it's not a level playing field?
No, I still think that every new trading card game, like like a Pokemon type of game, or Dragon Ball Z, whatever, I still think that's a money laundering thing. Like you get these no-name.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, watch the
Expound
next
on
time
that.
that like a no-name trading card gets launched on Kickstarter,
Okay.
and it gets hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, who is investing
People are speculating
in
on the
these
value of the
trading
cards.
card games that are going to
what
go
it is.
nowhere?
what
Like,
it is.
it just.
You just are hoping to hit the
So
next
it's-
big thing.
It's
So-
got to be a money laundering
It's
thing,
either,
man.
it's, you know, if you have a lot of money from, like, you know, if you're Breaking Bad, you can either invest in a Kickstarter, you know, Pokemon game, or open up a car wash.
You got to pick one.
Sell
It's got to
drugs.
go somewhere. And if you can get 50% of it back, hey, it's clean money. It's
There you go. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like Ozark on Kickstarter.
Any updates to you to your boards, gentlemen, for games played?
I was just pulling up because we just had the
Ooh.
game day Saturday.
now
so
that
I was
we're
gonna
talking
take
about
a
it.
quick look here and see the games I
We
played.
could talk. Rob and I got to play Comic Hunters.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah.
Wayne.
So
That's your
the-
first time,
Yeah, Comic Hunters, a game that's only sold in Brazil currently.
right?
So you have to really find it. If you look on eBay.
And I think it's a licensing
it's
issue.
a licensing issue.
because it's
yeah.
got Marvel all over it.
Oh,
Yep,
yes.
Yeah.
But like in the U.S., Marvel is already licensed out to so many different
stuff.
companies.
This game is gonna get licensed because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great
It's
game.
fast. It's quick, snappy turns. You got like four like rounds where you're collecting the comics at the comic store, online, at the convention, or via auction. And it's set collection.
Yeah.
And you're building sets of comics. I want to build a set of Black Panther comics. I want to build a set of, you know, whatever. And it's quick, fun, and has just the good theme. And I don't know, it just hits on everything.
It's pretty language independent if you can pick up
Yeah.
a copy of it. It's hard to get it here. Dan knows somebody in Brazil and was able to have them go to the local store, purchase it, and send it to him.
While he was laundering money.
Yeah,
What?
well, yeah, there
And
you
what's
go.
funny is I played this game and I'm like, you can only get it in Brazil. And then I remembered my next door neighbor's from Brazil.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say Wayne's got a hookup in Brazil.
I got him at the mailbox. I said, hey, Luis. I said, are you or any of your family planning to go to Brazil, or any of your family coming to visit from Brazal? He's like, oh, my wife and our son, we're going to go down there after the school year's over. I'm like, okay. I need you
I need 80 copies.
I need you to
least
look for
18.
this game down there. And I showed him a picture of it. And he's like, where? It's like, okay, what is it, a board game? I'm like, yeah, it's a board game. So if you find a game store, if you can find a copy when you're down there,
Do you have a Walmart?
bring me back. I don't know where they
Yeah.
sell it down there. That's the thing. He's going to visit, go down there at the end of May, and so we'll see if he can get a copy
It's
for me.
pretty language independent. There's just a few things that are in Portuguese that, but it's Dan. There is a online on BGG. There's a version of the rules in English. It's not a great translation, from what I understand, but it's enough that you can stagger your way through the first game, and then once you learn it,
it's easy.
yeah, it's there's not a whole lot going on in this.
It's you're basically just collecting Captain America, and then there's tags. And what's good is there's variability. Like there's 3 or 4 different ways to score points.
Yep.
And that will what scores or what amount scores in each game will change slightly.
It's a random setup.
Random setup, which is cool.
Yep.
And all the artwork is artwork from covers of famous comics from that that person.
They're divided into years, so the 1 point ones, there's 1s, 2s, and 3s that are in different decks.
It's like rarity.
Yeah, the ones are the easiest, or the more recent ones.
Are those Stan Lee glasses?
Yes.
Yes,
That's the
they
first
are.
player
That's the
token.
first player
Pretty cool.
token.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
Yep. Then the 2s are a little older, and then the 3s are the old classics, originals of all of them.
Golden
and so it
Age
was
and- yeah.
funny the first time I played this. Mike, have you played this one?
I have not.
Oh, okay. First time I played this, Dan taught me at Escape Winter some many months back, and one of the kids we were playing with was like, "Oh, I own that comic," or "I used to have that comic," or all
I
this.
was
So
a big
the-
comic collector back
Yep.
in the 90s. So
Oh, then you
There
would
you go.
love this game, man.
Yeah, it's all real comics. It's funny. Dan always points out that there's some flavor text on the bottom of the cards. It's completely in English, so everything, the rule book, all the instructions, all the
It's all
stuff printed on the board is
Portuguese, but then the
Portuguese.
flavor text
but
is
the
in
flavor
English.
text on the cards is all in English. So it's interesting.
But I know that Tom and others have hinted that this is going to get an American or English printing.
Yeah.
And I can't see it not, because
this would be
it's-
right up my alley, man.
It's going to be not a super expensive game. It's easily expandable because you could come out with additional sets, and you could do a DC version. You could do a Dark Horse comics. You
Yeah.
could do various versions of it, but we played it 3-player in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's quick. Yeah, you could
2 of
reset it and
us
play it a
and
couple
Sam.
times.
And so,
Oh,
yeah, there's
very
a first
cool.
player token. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was right up my alley. It was awesome.
That's a fun one. That was a good one.
Yep.
I had a chance also to play Evergreen, which is a game that's everybody compares it to photosynthesis. You're growing trees in the forest, and you got this little sun thing that moves around that marks the 4 different turns of the game. This is a game that came out not so long ago.
You mean photosynthesis?
Photosynthesis is
No, not the
That's
same
the
game.
one.
No, not the same game. It's this one's very different. The main difference in this, in photosynthesis, you're all playing on one board. You're building all your tree. You're growing all your trees on the main board, and it's extremely cutthroat. You're trying to block the sun from other people's trees so that you can mess them over, and so they won't get points. In this one, everybody has their own board, and so you're just trying to lay out your trees in the right orders that they will be able to all grow, and so you're not blocking sun from your own trees, but you have complete control over what you're doing. It's a draft mechanic. We played a 4-player game, so at the beginning of every round, you put out 5 cards. Everybody drafts a card and does the thing that's on the card. The card that doesn't get chosen each round goes up into the in-game scoring pile, and then you lay all those cards out at the end, and you score everybody on those. And so it's a whole thing. Like going first is awesome because you can have the first choice of all the cards, and you might get to do the ability, the thing you really want to do. But going last, you get to decide which card ends up going in that final scoring pile, so that the way you've built your board, you can get those points at the end of the game. Great production. I understand it's only like $30 or $35. It's got all these little wooden bits. It's got dual layer player boards. I was really impressed by this one, and for that price, it's gonna be pretty close to the buy pile for me. I mean, this is almost an automatic buy for if it really is $35. I think Diego said it was. It is a fun little game, and
It looked pretty cool.
yeah, we played it in about 45 minutes, a 4-player game. I was impressed with it. So fun game.
Another game that just came out recently, right?
Yes, yeah. I said 2022, but it had to be late 2022.
And
so-
it's on BGA.
yeah, yep. And so it's been pretty popular. I know they talked about it on Dice Tower and online. I've seen quite a bit about it, and so I had been wanting to play it for a while. So I saw it in Diego's bag. I was like, that one. We need to do that one first. And so I had to run to an eye doctor's appointment. So I had like an hour and a half, and I was like, this is, I think, going to fit that niche perfect. And Diego and Rachel, mostly Rachel, actually taught it, and so I appreciate her teaching the game. But it's a fun little game. Yeah.
I got to pull out a comment here from Edmund England. He doesn't believe that they will get the rights to Comic Hunters in the U.S., but it's a fun game. If they'll get it, it'll be popular. It's very popular in Blizzard.
And whoever has the rights to Marvel games is going to buy it or something, maybe.
You would think, yeah, if there's somebody who's already got the IP there somewhere,
It's a
you would think
license
would
to
suck
print
that one
money.
up.
It would be a game that would sell a
Pretty
lot of
much.
copies.
Yeah.
Any recent plays for you, Mike? You want to highlight a recent play?
I'll just go real quick here.
Go round robin here, picking one game at a time.
Yeah. The 4 games I played recently were Everdell, which I haven't played in a long time, Warpgate, Age of Steam, which I definitely want to play again, because it's one of those games where you got to play once to kind of get a feel for what's going on. But my friend that brought it over to play, I'm not exaggerating, and when he told me, I was like, you're full of it. And he's like, he has like, I don't know, 50 plus maps for this game.
Wow.
And like, he's dead. And the funny thing is I've known him all this time, and he's never mentioned this game. And he's like, have you ever played Age of Steam? I was like, no, but I'm interested in trying it, whatever. And he brought it over. He played a 3-player game of it, and he had like a special 3-player board that somebody made on, I think, from BGG, and he had it like printed out and laminated. And he said most maps don't work very well with 3 players, but this one worked very well. But anyway, the one game that I actually wanted to talk about was Big Top, which is it's a auction type game. And if and when you bring up the pictures there, yeah, that one. This is an auction type game. It's like you're, getting acts for your circus or whatever.
Mihalo was the artist on this one?
Mio?
I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, art by
The Miko. Yeah.
The Miko. Uh-oh.
Got a call
Got a
coming
call
in.
after
Got to cut you
7:30.
short.
Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Kaylee. I'm calling from Indiana.
Hello, Kaylee from Indiana. We're talking board games. What do you got going on?
I don't really got much going on. I'm just watching the Big Top right now.
We were hoping to hear a little bit about that from Michael over in Seattle. What games have you been playing, or what topics do you have for the folks at home?
I love Monopoly. You can never go wrong with Monopoly. That game takes forever. Always, always. Like you can never just sit down and have like a easy game of Monopoly, man. Always got Family Feud going on. All kinds of stuff. I live for the drama. So Monopoly is always
your good choice
a must
there.
on the family.
That's drama. Yeah.
That'll cause some drama, no doubt.
Yeah. What game are you guys playing?
Well, we've been playing Concordia today. As of late, it's kind of a lighter trading game, trading resources game. But really, I've been wanting to get into some more like war gaming, World War II type stuff, enjoying some. I got 3 boys at home.
Oh, like Battleship.
Yeah, like that. I got 3 boys at home, and they're at the ages where they're learning like American history. So they're coming to me with facts about World War II as if I've never,
Never done.
read a history book.
Yeah, like you were in the world yourself.
Right. So I want to connect with them. I want to connect with them. So I want to find some games that are lighter, but are still kind of that World War II history games. So I'm going to try one out, and I'll give you all some more feedback on it when I do. It's something I just got recently called Fighters of the Pacific about World War II airplanes. That's what I'm going to be trying out.
Is it a board game or is it like an online game?
It's a full board game. It's on a tabletop, so it's got the spaces, like hexagon spaces that represent the ocean. You got these pieces that represent the aircraft carriers, and then other pieces that represent the airplanes, and they kind of move off the aircraft carriers and go fight each other. You don't have to roll dice or anything, so it kind of keeps it from having to be too luck-based. It's more strategic in that sense, where your actions really matter. Where you decide to put your airplanes matter. Those are the types of games we've been playing.
Oh, yeah, that sounds really, really fun. How many people can play that game?
Usually 2. A lot of war games play best at 2. There are some that say they play 4, but they really don't. They're 2-player games, and they try to like divide
Teams.
one side into a team.
Yeah.
But that never works. It's like Monopoly. It just becomes a fight, for you want to go do your own thing. I want to go do my own thing, and then we end up losing to the other team, and nobody's happy about that.
But you're talking about like true war games, like Memoir 44. You can actually play multiple people, right?
8-player. That's
8-player,
my favorite way to
yeah.
play it. 8-player.
Cool.
Any questions for us here?
No, not really. I just was calling, seeing what kind of game you guys have been up to, and.
Well, let's give some family recommendations. What's your game group look like? We like having these conversations with gamers who are newer to the hobby, and kind of help get them headed in the right direction. How many people normally play when you play a game?
Normally it's just about like 4 or 5 people. I got my boyfriend, I got my mom, my grandma, grandpa.
Okay.
Sometimes a guest. If not, the cat's always there, so you're part of the family.
All right, I'm going to recommend a game. You can pick it up at Target. I think every Target.
I already got one in mind. Go ahead.
Oh, let's see if we're on the same page, Michael. I'm going to say pick up Point Salad.
Yes, that's
Really?
Oh!
Incredible.
That's awesome. Point Salad's going to play in less than 30 minutes. You're not going to have any.
Card game only.
Not rarely will you have hurt feelings. You might have sometimes when you take something that somebody else wants, but in Point Salad, you're going to get these different recipes for a salad, and then you have to select different vegetable combinations of different vegetables to try to make that salad. And the better you fill those recipes, the more points you get. And what's cool is the cards have 2 sides to them. One side is the recipe side, and the other side is the vegetable side.
And when you say
kinda have to
recipes,
decide-
it's like points. That's how you're getting your points.
Yeah.
I call them recipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to decide: do you want to use it as the point side, which tells you what you need, or as the vegetable side to meet a goal? So it's a lot of decision
Which
space.
one would you guys recommend?
That point salad. Yeah.
Point
I
salad.
am big on getting as many vegetables as I can get early on, and then I try to get the point cards to match the vegetables I
I'm
have.
the opposite.
Wrong.
I
That's
try
why
to
you
pick a
lose,
couple of
man.
points
That's why you're bad.
and then get the vegetables to match.
You gotta figure out what you're going for first. Get those point cards, then turn
Right,
into
because you can always flip it over to the vegetable side if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good game to recommend, Carlos, because you can get that at Target, Walmart, usually
Like
and
20
15 to
bucks
20
or
bucks
something.
max.
Yeah.
Less,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Plays 6 players, right? 6 players and plays in less than 30 minutes.
Yep.
Can't get any better than that. Your
That sounds
game nights
super
will be
fun.
much better.
Yep.
Yep. Great game.
I hope that helps, Kaylee.
Thank you. No, it really does. That sounds like a great party game.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for calling the show. We appreciate your call. Have a good night.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Nice. There you go. Nice new caller. Yeah, love it.
I
Couple
could
new
tell
callers
by
tonight.
Carlos's face. He was like, I think this might be a prank call.
Yeah.
I saw him kind of scoot the
He
phone
always
closer
does that.
to
I
him.
think anytime there's a new caller, he kind of
Yeah.
goes that way. But you know
But
what?
that's
like,
all. Dude, how many new people did we get tonight?
Two?
3?
Yeah.
Three? Yeah, three.
Well, I mean, Chris called twice.
Yeah,
And Chris twice.
The Nerdy Weds.
Nerdy Weds.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
William. William. The first
Yeah.
time he called into this show, at least.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Look at that.
I think.
All right, Mike, back to Big Top. You gotta,
Oh, yeah.
gotta hit us up with that.
All right, so before we run out of time, so Big Top, pull up a picture with some cards on it. This,
Yeah.
So everybody starts out with the same ringleader card, and everybody starts out with the same amount of money. I think it's like $12, and then everybody gets one card that you like have in your hand, and then you have a draw pile in the middle. So on your turn, you're basically going to draw a card off the pile, and you're going to choose which card in your hand that you're going to put up for auction. So you're basically laying the card down face up in front of you. And you'll notice that the cards have circles with like number values in them. So like that one in the bottom left corner, I think it's like 5, 6, 7 or whatever. So you'll have your own, like you start out with the one ringleader card, which is in front of you face up. And then you put up your card for auction, right? So you start the bidding at whatever number you want. But the thing is if you have a number, so like you know, I'll bid 2, you know, and then it goes around the table till everybody passes and somebody wins the bid. But the thing is if you bid a number that is in one of those circles, be it the card that's up for auction or the one in front of you, you get to put one of your coins on top of that number. Well, once you have all those numbers filled, it goes into your point pile. So it kind of incentivizes you to go for higher bids or start bids at certain numbers to block people out. Like, you know, Rob may need a 5 to finish one card, but it could be a good, like a really high point card, and I'll start the bidding at 6 just to knock Rob, you know, so he'll be less incentivized to go after that card. And then you have like those clown cards you'll see at the top there. I think there's like 5 or 6 clown cards, and each one is unique that gives you like a special power. So like that one, my camera's in the way. I think that one is like you get 2 points for every card that you finish, and then there's like one for you'll get 2 points for every coin on a unfinished card, and it's just it plays very quick, but the bidding part of it is like it really draws you in, because if you have to have the money obviously to win the bid. So if you are covering up the numbers on your cards, not necessarily the ones that are up for auction, but your cards, you have to take money from your pile and cover it with $1. If somebody wins the bid from you, they pay you the amount of money that they won the bid for. So there's this constant exchange of money. And then if you win the bid on your own card, the money goes into like the surplus, like nobody gets the money. But eventually you want to start giving up cards so that you can get money back in order to make bids for cards down the road. It plays very fast. This one is like, this is so close to me buying like just to have it, because it is such a fun game and it plays very quick. You guys are all silent.
That like mechanism of like when you bid on a card, and then if someone bids higher than you, they pay you. The thing that's the Isle of Skye mechanic, where you're like, you're saying this is what the cards are worth, and if you're willing to pay for it, then you got to pay me for it. If not, I buy the card for that point value. So kind of
right. And even the cards that are up for auction, like if you have a card in front of you that has a 3 and the card that's up for auction has a 3, you're covering your 3 and that 3 at the same time. So you could potentially, even as the card that's up for auction, that's gaining more coins on top of it. It's incentivizing you even more to go for like a higher bid or a specific number bid in order to get that card into your point pile.
That looks cool.
Interesting.
Cool.
What are the blinders for?
So nobody knows how much money you have.
For the
Okay.
bidding.
So it's hiding your money.
Yeah.
So not what you're bidding, but
Well, it's hiding your money so that people don't know they can outbid
How
you
much
if I just
power you
put
can
2
bid.
more
If
in.
you know,
Right.
I only have 7,
Yeah.
you'll bid 8 every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
sure if it was blind bidding, but no, it's just hiding your money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely a fun game.
It looks
Cool.
cool. I like
Yeah.
the artwork. It's very colorful.
Yeah, the artwork is pretty neat too. But the unique clown cards that are in there. Oh, and the other thing is, obviously every card has like a point value to it. There are some cards with stars in the top right corner. In order to even be in the running to win, you have to have at least one card with a star. And it'll have like 1, 2, or 3 stars in the corner, and then there might be a special clown card that says, score X number of points for, however many stars you have or something like that. But you have to have at least one card with a star on it in order to be in the running to win.
Interesting.
I love
Yeah.
the art.
And the art's pretty nice.
Yeah, very, very cool game.
Who's the designer on this one? Who's the publisher?
Let's see. Publisher listed as All
All
Play.
Play. Oh, wow. All Play's
There
doing
you
some
go.
good
And
stuff
they're
lately.
knocking out with us
Yeah.
small
Yeah,
box
they are.
games. Wow.
Miko doing the artwork. Yeah, interesting.
3 to 4 though, so it does not. You can't. It's not 2 co-op, or you got to play at least 3. Huh?
Correct. Yeah.
That's always a hard number to reach. I can do 2. I can do 4. Finding 3.
3 or 4. So I mean,
Yeah, 3-chip trick.
Yeah, there you go.
That's my go-to for 3 players.
or so.
12
Nice.
chip. Yeah. So anyway, that one's actually making my top 20. So
Oh, where are you putting it?
I am going to. I don't know if you guys want me to share. I can present here real quick.
Makes for great radio.
It does.
I know, I
I'm just
gotta.
gonna update mine at the end of the month.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, Comic Connors might make my board. I'll have to marinate on that one a little bit.
is making my board.
Yeah, is it going to make yours?
Making your board?
Make my
Yeah,
board.
it might
I
sneak
make
out
my
of
board
mine
pretty
here.
high up, actually.
Yeah.
Am I sharing?
It's a good
there?
game.
Oh, there we go.
Definitely middle. Of
So big top. We're getting this crap out of here.
Oh, that was supposed to be a good one.
Oh man, the last time I played that, it was just brutal. So this one, let's see, what are we gonna move down? Oh man, I can't believe Super Motherload's hitting 20 already.
Yeah, I know it feels bad when some of those good ones start falling off the bottom of the list.
Yeah. I haven't played Brian Brew enough. Scythe I played enough. Here's the tough part with something like this, because this is like a quick game. And Scythe is definitely a longer game, and
But you
setup
had so much
time and-
fun playing it that day that like you feel
I
like
know,
it
man.
deserves to go higher. Making the list for a week, I think that's a sign of a strong game. The fact that it made like it rung that bell of hitting
Yeah.
the top 20.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
That's a nomination on its own.
Yeah. All right. This is. Yeah.
Wow.
This is where it's gonna go.
Above Scythe. All right.
Above Scythe, below Dogs of War. So in at number 14 for me.
Pretty high.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going after these really simple, quick play games lately.
But you could, I like that though. You play like 10 of those in the time it takes you to play Scythe.
Yeah, so it'd be right up Mitchell's alley.
yeah, exactly. Get it knocked out, move on to the next one.
Louisiana Time Warp.
Yep. So no changes to my top 3.
Well,
or
since
top
we are
10 or
putting a
whatever.
podcast form out there, this is where I would want you to read out your top 10 for the podcasters.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we'll go from the top
Mike
down.
Lorenzo out of Seattle, top 20.
Top 20. I'll start at the bottom then. Number 20. So we're going 20 to 1. 20 is Super Motherload, Silver and Gold. 18 is Nokosu Dice. 17 Time Stories. 16 Brian Brew. Scythe. Big Top came in at number 14, just under Dogs of War at 13. Thunder Alley at 12. Mobile Markets. It's a Wonderful World. Tyrants of the Underdark at 9. Res Arcana. Century any edition you want.
Whichever
I
one.
prefer the
The
Gollum edition.
is the right answer.
Yeah. Fantastic Factories at number 6. Top 5 is Foundations
play
of
that.
Rome.
Fantastic Factories. I've had it for over a year and I still haven't played it.
Let me ask you this really quick about that. Is it the rule book that's keeping
Yes.
you from playing?
Like
Everybody
3
that
reads.
has it, that hasn't played it yet, that I know, it's because of the rule book. And
Yeah.
it's such a simple game to learn.
It is.
And I don't watch videos to learn games. I read the rules. And like if I can't make it grok in my head, I just put it away.
Watch a video. It's okay.
I should
It's
go
okay.
watch the
It's
video.
all right,
Watch
man.
a video.
Go
It's
watch
okay.
a video.
Just embrace the Rodney.
You can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it, man.
Rodney wants to show you wrong.
He might
right,
not let me embrace him, but
So number 5, Foundations of Rome. 4, Unsettled. Number 3, La Famiglia, The Great Mafia War. Number 2, 51st State. And number 1, Vindication.
And so we have a couple of new callers, and viewer count is a little higher tonight. Maybe give a 30-second what this is actually. 'Cause
oh yeah, for you new callers, new viewers, I just like out of nowhere decided I wanted to rank my games on a magnetic board because I thought it sounded cool. So it kind of hit off, and now what we have is it kind of morphed a lot into this top 20 board where us and our contributors and even watchers of the show, our viewers on our Discord channel have their own top 20s that are always ongoing. As you play a game, if it makes your top 20 game played this year, it doesn't have to be a game from this year,
right.
but a game you played in 2023. It's your top 20. It goes somewhere in your top 20
so
board.
it's not your top 20 of all time.
Nope,
it's just
nope.
the top
Correct.
20 games you've played this calendar year.
And my goal is that when we celebrate the new year and we get together to pop bottles on our last show of the year, we can look back and say these are the top 20 games that we played in 2023.
Yep.
And the rule for moving games.
Right. I was going
that's
to
the
mention
hard
that.
part.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to play it. You got to play it.
Right. So once it's on your board, you have to play it again in order for that particular game to move up or down. Obviously, it's going to get pushed down if some games come in above
Higher.
it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's the thing is like you want to place it based I want to place it based on how I felt when I played it, but then as time goes by, I'm like, oh man, is it really that high
Right.
up
Is
there?
it really
Like,
better than that game that I just played last week?
Gizmos, I'm looking at you. Do you really belong in the top 10? I don't know right now.
At the end of the month, I'm gonna have 3-4 new games that I'm gonna try to figure out because I do it at the end of the month. End of the month, one of my games I got.
So like where my Gizmo's located at right now, I'd like to move it. But that just means I need to play
Just gotta play
Gizmos
it. Just
again.
play it.
I have to play Gizmos again
Yep.
in order to say, all right, we're going to bring it down a bit.
Yeah, I've got several I want to adjust, so I gotta play them again just so I can adjust. But that's all right. That's the way we set it up, so we'll do
It
it.
gets you to play it more. You may
Yeah.
have a different feeling after you play
After I play it again,
and-
yeah, maybe, yeah.
Robert, any movement or new games? I know we added Concordia since we played it to the game. Any movement for you?
That's really it. I said Comic Hunters. I need to marinate on a little bit because I've played it twice now, separated by about 6 months. But yeah, it is a good game. So I think that probably will make the list. I'm not going to put it up today, but maybe next week I'll have a firmer idea of where I want to put it, and I'll put that one up there. We played Pipeline on Saturday. Was the other game I got to play. Wayne and I played for the first time. Samantha taught us that one,
And Distilled.
it was good. Oh yeah, you played Distilled for the first time. Yeah, so
That's right. That wasn't your
Carlos
first
and
time,
I
it
had
was your
played
second
before.
time.
Yeah, was that was second? Yeah, but so
Robert, I'm not seeing Distilled on your list.
it's not on my list. So
Ask me.
Carlos, is it on your list?
No, it's not on my list either.
In Wayne's first play, Wayne, is it going to be on your list?
You know, it might be on my list, but it would be towards the bottom.
Okay.
And that's not knocking the game. It's a really good game.
Solid
game.
Very solid game.
I think it would be down on my list because, and I had a good conversation with William on it. William's loved the game. I go, yeah, it's a great game.
He's a little defensive about it because
It's
his Kickstarter.
But
yeah.
we came to a really good conclusion. Is I've got 400 something games in my board game collection, so I'm at the point in my collection where a game has to be
pretty dang good.
Pretty good.
God,
Yeah.
what game is that similar to that it's replacing?
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Williams only got 50, 60 games in his collection, so he's still that Distilled is that game. And so if I didn't have, 10 other games similar to Distilled in my collection already, I would probably that's a really good game. I would want to own that. That would be cool, right?
Yeah.
But because I have Concordia and I have, a bunch of other games that are worker placement that are set collection, but it kind of fits that niche. Distilled was great, but I don't know if it replaces games that I already own.
Yeah.
And so because of the price, $100 plus, it's not going to replace anything in my collections, which is I'm kind of glad I maybe didn't back the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
But It's a really good game. I enjoy it. I'd play it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple more plays, I might really get into it.
Yeah,
But
I liked it.
It might hit my list towards the bottom.
Okay. Yeah, it's not going to make my 20. It was a solid game. I said that after we played it. I enjoyed it. I'd play it pretty much anytime somebody pulled it out and want to play it. But yeah, it's not didn't hit it out of the park for me. So yeah.
I had some plays, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to make too much work on my board, but we did get to play Tyrants. We talked about that last show, but since then we've had Chocolate Factory made it to the table, and I want to put it up here.
Not quite. What would it push on?
Yes, it's going on. It's definitely better than Pitch Car, which pushes Seven Wonders out. I'm putting Chocolate Factory in my number 19 spot. I don't have. There's the pen.
Throw it up there real quick.
At minimum, it deserves to be 19 right now.
That's a game that just really got lost in the pandemic.
Not
You
better.
know what? Better than Potion Explosion.
Not better than Potion Explosion?
Yes, better than Potion Explosion.
Not better than Tapestry.
Needs more
Which would I rather play? Tapestry's lost a lot with me since Mosaic showed up.
Since you can't score over 100.
It was up there next to Mosaic. If y'all remember, Tapestry was up there next to Mosaic, and it has fallen.
You need to play it again.
Better than Biblios? Really?
Yeah.
Give us the talk here, Rob. What's happening
I'm
on
trying
the
to see what
board?
he's doing. He put Biblios down. So Biblios now at 17. Chocolate Factory coming in 16.
Chocolate Factory going to 16 right now.
Underneath Ethnos at 15 and Shogun at 14.
All right, that's Chocolate Factory. Let's see what else. A lot of Blood Bowl being played thanks to the league, which I just think it would be a cheat for me to put it at my number one.
You can't
It's
put
my
that
most played
game
game.
up there.
Yeah.
No.
Does it bring you the most joy?
My worry is if I do it up, if I put it up there, then that means I only get to play with 19 spots.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
So it's by default, people. I love Blood Bowl. It's just not going up here.
It's not a board game, man. Sorry.
No. Doesn't fit this
There it
list.
is.
Yeah, it doesn't fit this list.
I got to get Mosaic played at this weekend's Your Turn game day. Would that have making it the last?
Does it move on your
game
list?
Day?
That was the last game. Oh, your turn. Yeah.
Your turn?
Unless there's a game.
Now
day
I'm
after
heartbroken.
If it's
Yeah.
at the flea market.
We
I
still
don't know if
have game days for Beans and Dice, but not at your turn. Yeah.
All right. Well, Mosaic is moving up. It's going above Viticulture.
What?
It's going on my number 4 spot.
What number is it at now?
Ooh.
I've got a number 4 on my list. Carlos had it at number 7 on his list, and he's moving it up. Viticulture was 6, so he's saying that it's at least leapfrogging Viticulture to number 6. Do you want to do something with Crusaders? Ooh, where's Cascadia going? Well, he's pulling stuff off, folks. Oh,
He's got to move. The
he's
Crusaders
okay. He's rearranging. So Mosaic at 4 underneath Concordia. So he's now got Brass Birmingham 1, Castles of Burgundy 2, Concordia 3, Mosaic 4, Cascadia 5, Crusaders 6, and Viticulture down to 7.
I remember when Crusaders would never move.
Yeah, that was a
I gotta
block
play
there
that
for a
Play it
while.
again. Yeah, I gotta play it again.
51st State Masters said. I think
Hell
it's number
yeah.
2 on Michael's list, right?
You played it?
Yes, number 2.
I played it solo. It's one of my
okay, solo.
acquisitions.
Yeah.
I was going to bring up acquisitions this show. But, yep, there it is. I bought it from Dan. He had it in his flea market sale, and we got the pick through his flea market sales before the flea market.
The sale
he
before the
sold
sale.
that game?
He
Oh,
did.
he's selling a
He
lot
had
of
like
stuff.
another copy of it, maybe or something.
I don't know.
I picked
Is
it up.
Is he selling Death May Die?
Oh, wow.
He is. Yes.
He is?
Yes. Jim already has tab on it.
I'll talk to you
pulling out
guys
his phone.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, he is. That was he announced that actually a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Mike's got to stay up on the Discord,
Gotta stay up.
just like I do. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. that-
51st State. I played it solo, so it's not going to go on the board because I did play it solo.
played it-
But, Robert,
Yeah.
I played it solo.
I like 51st State.
And holy crap, this game is good.
Oh, it's good.
It's really good.
It's almost as good as Imperial Settlers.
We
but,
play that one next week.
You know what? That's a great idea
we
because
could
it's
do that.
fast.
We can
bro.
try to film it.
Yeah.
try
It
to
is.
put it on
It
camera.
is so. Just
Have
like
you played that, Wayne?
No.
Oh no!
Have you played Imperial Settlers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like one-
It's a
similar.
streamlined version of Imperial
I'm down.
Settlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you end your turn with all these resources and you're just mad at yourself because you didn't have enough actions
You got to use them.
use them,
Yeah.
like that's just a feeling.
Use them or lose them.
Yep, use them or lose them. It. Okay,
It's a
51st
really
State.
good game.
Oh yeah.
Once we get this played multiplayer, you'll see it on my board. You definitely will. And then finally, our recent play of Concordia. It means that I can make changes, but with it at 3, I think we already did the changes on
You
that.
did.
Yeah,
You
3
already,
is where it
you already
belongs.
rearranged that one. So yeah.
I don't know if I'd put it over Castles because Castles has
No, I'm still
a fun feel, but lighter, a more like happy feel. And then Brass just punches you in the gut every time.
So I'm looking at mine. I got Concordia at 5, and I think I'm still good with it at 5. So yeah.
Those are my recent plays and my update
and
to
that
my
51st
top 20
State's
board.
your only acquisition?
51st. Oh no, 51st State was an acquisition. Another acquisition.
Oh, the wing, yeah, Fighters of the Pacific.
Fighters of the Pacific. This is by Don't Panic Games. It's a. We talked a little bit about it with the caller. I think Kaylee from Indiana. World War II. No luck. Deterministic. You're moving squadrons of airplanes together, but in ways that you want to keep them together because then they can activate together and all fire together. So like it kind of matters how you assemble your squadrons and keep them together.
Makes me think of the new Undaunted, but go ahead.
Yeah.
'Cause
See?
they got a communication thing in the new Undaunted.
Yes.
If you get them too far apart, they lose
Yep.
communication. They're not as powerful.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
really
it's
cool.
it's similar to that, but this is lighter. It's definitely going to be a
Yeah,
lot lighter than
okay.
that. This will be good for the kids. I think even for us, for a light war game, to enjoy a war game
Okay.
that maybe you can enjoy because it's not luck-based.
I like planes. Yeah.
And you like history too.
So, do the Battle of Midway.
And they did a good job of keeping it historically accurate.
Cool.
So like some of the Zeros, the Mitsubishi planes, are flammable.
Right, because they didn't have self-sealing tanks.
My man, he knows his history. The U.S. had bladders. So as our fuel was being used, the fuel
Shrink.
bladder would shrink, right? But the Japanese just had a tank, and as they used their fuel, they just had more fumes. So if you just hit that area, so it does all these things that make me think they knew their history.
They knew the history. Yeah.
They did. So that's another buy. And then finally, the last acquisition I'll talk about before the show's up, which I'm looking forward to this one. I know, another zombie side game. Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance. I picked this one up specifically because of my boys. My boys love Marvel.
And that zombie show is cool.
The zombies, I used to read these comics when they first came out 10, 15 years ago. I used to read them all. It was so different. Just like, angsty zombie Spider-Man. Like, I'm a zombie. I loved it. But in this
Sounds
game,
like it.
you're playing the zombies, stopping the heroes from stopping you. So it's kind of a flipping zombie side on its head.
Yeah,
The
that's
cool. That's always
swarms
fun.
of soldiers coming to stop you, and you're the zombies trying to eat their faces. So I thought that would be fun with the boys.
Nice.
Those are my acquisitions. And then for the podcast listeners at home, let me go through my board real quick. My number 20, Pitch Card. Number 19, Potion Explosion. 18, Tapestry. 17, Biblios. 16, Chocolate Factory. Ethnos at 15. 14 is Shogun. 13 is Radlands. 12 is Furnace. 11 is Smartphoning. 10 is Lost Ruins of Arnak. 9 is Gizmos. 8 is Tyrants of the Underdark. 7 is Viticulture. 6, Crusaders. 5, Cascadia. Number 4 is Mosaic. Number 3 is Concordia. Number 2, Castles of Burgundy. And number 1, Brass Birmingham.
Nice.
And then for Robert, did we go through yours?
So one of y'all needs to read mine. It's right
All
behind me. But I
Robert's number 20, The Great Split. Number 19, La Harve. At 18 is Clank Catacombs. 17, Lost Ruins of Arnak. 16, Zolkin. The Mine Ruins game, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Good game.
15, Ethnos. 14, Welcome to. 13, Shogun. 12 is Seven Wonders Duel. At 11 is Res Arcana. And now we're in the top 10, Tapestry. Number 9, Trojan. Number 8, Unsettled.
Trojan.
Trojan.
Man. Trajan.
Listen, I got 4 kids. I don't know what that is.
Save his cards.
Number 8, Unsettled. Number
leaving.
7, Thunder Alley. Number 6, Tyrants of the Underdark. Number 5, Concordia. Number 4, Mosaic. Oh, we matched. I just noticed that. Wait, both of us,
Oh, both
Mosaic
of us
and
have
number 4.
Mosaic 4. Wow, nice.
Number 3, Blood Rage. Number 2, Orleans. And finally, number 1, Brass Birmingham.
Match
That-
there too.
That's our
Another
list.
match.
That's a good one, though.
Couple of good lists there.
Yeah, like it.
All right, folks. That does it for this week's show. Oh, we got some comments in here. Aaron says, +1 for 51st State. Have been playing more Empires of the North lately, but 51st State is great. Working on a game design with the heavy influence from 51st State.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, very cool.
Ignacy did a great job with Empires of the North, 51st State, Imperial Settlers,
Settlers,
except for the Roll and Write. Sorry, Nazi.
That roll and write is for sale everywhere.
Yeah.
I got 2 copies.
Nice Tower gave away 1 million copies.
At the last
so,
flea market,
yeah.
like every table had a
Yeah.
copy of it.
Oh, man, I feel bad.
Don't feel
All
bad,
right, folks.
Not everybody,
I'm
not everybody
sorry,
can hit
man.
it out
All
every
the
time.
hits, man.
Yeah.
Valid. We want to thank you all for watching, all the new callers. That was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
New viewers
Yeah.
in the comments.
Very nice.
Great show tonight.
Yeah,
Great show
absolutely.
Yeah,
tonight.
it was
fun.
a fun show.
Yeah.
So thank y'all. We will catch you all next week. Thursday night live call-in show. Hopefully we'll get some more stuff going on as well. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Wayne.
And we're the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about...
How we game. Night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
the Beans
Happy
and
gaming.
Dice podcast.
On cue.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Shut up that cat!
Instead of shut the door.
Shut that cat!